You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
There it is. Travis Hunter signs. There's not a lot of drama with these things anymore. There's a shade of drama just because he was one of the final three guys in the first round to get signed. There actually might be more drama in the second round and beyond because of some of the guaranteed contract money that happened with some of the players. So keep an eye on things. The Jags still have several unsigned players, but no longer Travis Hunter. That deal done last night, and it is unique. It is as unique as Travis Hunter is, and I think that was the point of this. It's about a $46 million deal. There's no maneuvering there. There's about $30 million guaranteed. There's no maneuvering there. The only real negotiation is when you get those guaranteed dollars. And so the agent of Travis Hunter and the Jags eventually came to an agreement to give Travis Hunter that money up front, and he becomes, at least according to Adam Schefter, I think I saw this, the first non-quarterback drafted after the first overall pick to get all his money up front. And I think there's something to that. It's like, there's not a lot to really work with, but if he's going to be this unique of a football player, and we know the second contract could get really interesting. But if he's going to be this unique, well, then how about make a unique deal to start it, to match that off? And so that was the holdup. How much of a holdup? I'm sure it was. I don't think it was this major back and forth. Just took a little bit longer. So we had at least some news over the weekend last night with Travis Hunter signing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brent Martineau here in the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network studios. We're actually going to go to Colorado and talk about Travis Hunter a little bit more. Romy Bean, I joined their show in Denver, CBS in Denver yesterday, to talk about the latest on Travis. Well, we asked her a little bit about covering Travis Hunter and his impact in Colorado over the last couple of years. So we'll get to that at some point in the show. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane down in South Florida, closer and closer to fight camp we go. Been down there a long time now. You homesick? You miss us all or what?
No, man, I'm doing all right, man. Obviously just locked in and focused. I think this Travis Hunter deal, though, is kind of a precedent. I understand that he plays both sides of the ball, so, you kind of had to tailor it to him a little differently. But I think this is more of a splash from James Gladstone and saying, we're going to trend the market a little bit here. We're going to buck those trends and give this guy everything up front. Because no other team has ever done this outside of the first pick overall and the quarterback position. And I think if you look at, like, for instance, in Cincinnati right now with Shamar Stewart, like, they've been, going back and forth simply because Shamar Stewart feels like he's like getting treated like every other rookie around the NFL. Well, now you have a case in James Gladstone where he's elevated a rookie first-round pick to a new echelon. And I think going forward now, you're going to have the arguments from these rookies saying, well, hey, if Travis Hunter got this, why can't I get it? And I get it. Once again, he's a unicorn. He's different. But I think when you talk about agents and things like that, they don't really care about all that. It's like, well, hey, he got this deal. We got this deal. So to me, it makes the Jaguars organization look even better now. And keep in mind, maybe free agents coming in one day. Hey, you see what James Gladstone's doing? Give him that guaranteed money. I want to be a part of that. So I think there's a lot more to it than just saying, hey, Travis Hunter's a special player, so he gets a special type of deal. I think this is more of James Gladstone making a name for himself and saying, hey, let's change the market up a little bit.
That's an interesting take. I did not have that. Like, listen, there's one thing, Austin, I've thought over time. Go back to when you played. Even I think Dave Caldwell and Gus and that regime tried to do this, and I knew that regime pretty well and what their inner workings were. At least I felt like I did. That it was important to them to get the business side right, to treat players the right way as often as possible. Now, you can't always do it. You can't just give stuff away, right? I mean, eventually you run into some things, and there are probably some examples, well, did they do that here or not there? But I go back, and I think this was like the Senderick Marks contract, where they did it in December because he had performed. And they're like, hey, we want to take care of that guy. I think there was a little bit of this with Miles Jack where they thought they were trying to do that early. They thought that was a good business move. There are other examples of, hey, let's make sure we get rid of a player and ample time for them to go find a new team. So I know that started back then. But this is an interesting take because I think the Jags, my point is, I think the Jags, even though they haven't been great, I think they've tried to do business the right way. There hasn't been a lot of conflict like the Chargers have had over decades, really, or now the Bengals. We see they seemingly always have some of these issues going on. The Jags have not been in that kind of conversation, and that's a good thing to not be in that conversation. But I think it's interesting that's kind of the way you consumed this news with Travis Hunter, and this latest is, hey, this is good for the business side. Not only are the Jags saying things the right way, they are doing things the right way under Baselli, Cohen, and Gladstone.
Yeah, and obviously agents, free agents, rookies coming in will take notice of what the Jaguars are doing. And I understand, once again, like he plays both sides of the ball, so all right, give everything up front. But keep in mind, he plays both sides of the ball. And let's go ahead and knock on some wood quick, but like that gives you more risk for injury, right?
Yeah.
That gives you more risk to not get the benefit of that return of giving him everything up front. So obviously it's putting a little trust in Travis Hunter, but it's also, once again, I think the Jaguars saying, let's do something new. Let's let's take care of our guys and let's go against the status quo and kind of set ourselves out apart a little bit.
Well, Austin, one more thing. Now you got me kind of thinking a little bit more. I wonder, in the weeds of everything with agents and everything else, how much the Jags do have to repair a little bit from the bulky era. See, I never thought the bulky thing was as bad as people were making it out to be. I mean, if you pay players, they're going to come. They signed free agents, right? They were able to do that. It's not like everybody stiff-armed them and gave them the Heisman. But I also think there was something there. I mean, you know it for a fact, right? There were just some players, some agents that didn't necessarily enjoy or want to or love work, however you want to characterize it, with bulky. And I don't know if there's a reparation that needs to be done in the Jags building on that, or it's just, hey, these are different people, fresh start for any agent, anybody else dealing with the Jags.
I mean, yes, it's different people, but I think that first impression is still a good thing simply because I think these agents maybe do have a bad taste in their mouth a little bit of what Trent Baalke was. And listen, like we can go back and forth and say, how detrimental was Trent Baalke in terms of getting free agents, in terms of getting undrafted free agents. I mean, I have it on very good authority that there was a couple of guys that didn't come to Jacksonville solely because their agent didn't like Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
And I have that on very good authority. So he did affect free agency. He did affect undrafted free agents. And yeah, people love to talk. So if the narrative is that I don't want to work with Trent Baalke, well, then that's going to splinter. That's going to get to other camps and everything. And all of a sudden now it starts to be the narrative. So whether it's a little bit of image repair, I don't know if it's that. I just think it's James Gladstone coming on the scene and saying, hey, don't forget about us. Don't forget about me. We're changing the game. Here we go.
Yeah. One other note here I think is kind of fascinating. The Jags might be fortunate, Austin, to not have a second-round draft pick this year because the second-round draft picks, it's a muddy deal in the NFL. This is from CBS Sports just 4 days ago. Out of the 257 players drafted, 36 remain unsigned. 30 of them are second-round picks. And here's the deal. Last year, Ladd McConkey was the final second-round pick signed. That happened at June 17th. We're on June 23rd right now, and most of the second-rounders are unsigned. And the reason is blame the Houston Texans because they gave 34th overall pick Jaden Higgins a fully guaranteed contract. And he became the first second-round pick in NFL history to get that. So it's pretty interesting that the Houston Texans have been involved in two of the what are you guys doing kind of moves. Of course, it was the Cleveland Browns that gave the guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson, and the league was like, what the hell? And now Houston is kind of like doing it again with Higgins on the other end. And I guess that's causing a big snafu in getting these guys signed because now every second-round pick and their agent wants the guaranteed money.
Yeah,
guaranteed deal.
And it's causing chaos. I mean, once again, I think it's almost more of a strategy than anything. Where if you're giving a guy that guaranteed money, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, whether it's guaranteed, whether it's a percentage, like that doesn't count against the salary cap. Like this is all like the owner's money. So like if you're a fan, don't worry about it. But what it does do is the owner goes, okay, well, I'm going to invest everything up front. And in doing so, well, this is going to take care of this player, but what are the teams going to do behind that player? And that's what we're seeing right now. These contracts are taking a long time to get done because you have the Houston Texans doing their thing. And just like I said with Travis Hunter, let's see how the first round picks negotiate next year, where they can go, oh, Travis Hunter got his everything up front. I want that as well. So I just think it's a little gamesmanship from two AFC South teams right now that are saying we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to make it on other teams a lot harder in terms of getting those contracts done.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Jags don't have one. Might be a good year for it because at least you avoid any drama. I mean, everybody's involved. It's not like they'd be alone, but everything's smooth sailing for the Jags. And we knew this would get done. It's just nice that you don't go in. The only time this becomes a story, if it was the Travis Hunter one or any of these second rounders, is if you get to camp. I mean, if you get to camp and it's not done. But it is kind of odd. I mean, I say this every year when we have these signings. Like, they're not even news anymore. I mean, we don't even put them in our sportscast. Now, last night we did. It was Travis Hunter. But we usually don't, because it's just a formality. I mean, it's not news. And it used to be such a big deal, as you remember, Austin. I mean, we were waiting for Tyson Alualu at the airport to land from Hawaii back in 2010. Like, it used to be a big deal when these guys signed or people signed and the holdouts, and that was an extreme possibility. Those things have just gone away. But with that, becomes, okay, how does this world change again? The money's slotted. What else can you do? Everybody's always looking for a bit of leverage. And right now the players are trying to get it with these guaranteed contracts, their agents as well. And just interesting to watch it unfold. So we'll talk a little more Travis Hunter from a Colorado perspective coming up a little bit later on in the show, as I mentioned. So that's still to come. Position group today, we're going to talk about the defensive line. We switched to defense. We'll break it down each and every day. And I think it's pretty obvious on that defensive front what the Jaguars have. Now, can they deliver? That's a conversation coming up. We'll also talk about protecting the quarterback and how much sacks matter. And that really flips to both sides of the ball, because it'll tell you how much the Jags need to get sacks if they want to disrupt other teams' offenses around the NFL. But while we have Austin, before he gets out of here after the first little bit of the show, and then he'll rejoin us later, well, the champs are the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I guess the big question I have, no surprise, I don't think, how much would Haliburton have made the difference, a healthy Haliburton, in this series and the outcome is really my biggest curiosity, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in this series, I really think that the Indiana Pacers maxed out their potential of what they were capable of, regardless of Haliburton's calf that eventually became the Achilles. If you're talking about last night of, if Haliburton's 100%, do they win that game? I still don't think so. I think, like, when you see TJ McConnell come in, they're definitely a different team. They're a more aggressive team. I think Haliburton, it's more of, the drive and dish. It's more of, playing more, and this is going to sound bad, but like playing more sideways and playing more aggressive. And I mean that with all due respect. But I think the way that you were supposed to beat Oklahoma City was more aggressiveness, is kind of using that calling card that got you there to the finals in the first place. So you see initially when he goes down, in the Achilles. And by the way, I'm glad that we're not with the old station anymore with the ESPN conglomerate, because I can go ahead and say this without feeling bad about it. The ESPN coverage, and I guess, like, obviously I've been watching these entire NBA finals, but I haven't really I watched it, first quarter to halftime to the end of the game last night. It's bad. It's really bad. Whether it's the halftime show with Stephen A. Smith and company, whether it's just, focusing on Haliburton's injury and trying to make it more of just a polarizing, drama-filled episode of reality television. Like, there was just a lot of things that I didn't like last night about the coverage. And I'm not sure what the ratings are going to be yet, but you didn't have to show Tyrese Haliburton get hurt, 25 times. You didn't have to zoom up on the Achilles popping. You didn't have to show his dad in the stands a couple of times and the reaction. You didn't have to, talk about, wow, what are these players going to think that he's got? Like, listen, I'm sure every player handles these things differently, but I'm here to tell you that if a player goes down with an injury, and yeah, it's happened, to every team I was on, but when a player goes down with injury, you're sad in the moment, you're emotional in the moment, and then it's time to play basketball again. Like the guys aren't in the huddle thinking, I can't believe he went down still. Man, I can't believe that's not what happens. So I really didn't, and I get Tyrese Haliburton made a name for himself in this playoffs, and I get he's starting to reach the precipice of an elite player. But that team got to the NBA Finals, yes, a lot because of Tyrese Haliburton, but there's a lot of other players in that team as well. And when he went down, man, I just thought like this isn't even basketball anymore. This is just trying to create the drama and the atmosphere when you shouldn't have to create it, because guess what? It's game 7 of the NBA Finals. What more do you need?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you got me thinking here now too. One, the ESPN coverage actually has been blasted. Like the crew, I mean, and Breen, everybody loves Breen, right? But like the rest of it, not so good. And Doris Burke, everybody still loved Doris Burke. She's been getting criticized a lot. But so the whole thing is not great. And I think there's going to be a change. I think I read something recently. It would be like the 3rd change of that crew in the last few years or something. So there's not a lot of continuity going on with their broadcast crew and everything else. And I think you can make the case ESPN tries too hard a little bit. I do think the NBA is in chase mode, and maybe even the NFL. Like, I think the Amazon Thursday night cover, like the stuff they have on there, the people they have, with all due respect to them, who have built careers, it's just not good. It doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work. And I think people are trying so hard to really get the TNT thing. And you just got to give up on that. You're not going to get that, right? Like, that's just, there are just some things you have to admit you're not going to duplicate. And I think that's a little bit of it. The other part is you bring up and I'm sure there are articles done on this and maybe stories done, but if you talk about like broadcasts and everything else about the injury stuff, we have now, Austin, we have seen so many Achilles in the last handful of years, I would say, that we now know what the pop looks like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember ever knowing what an injury looked like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of like something obvious, right? Like an ankle or something, and if something breaks, they don't show that usually again now. They're very sensitive to that, but they're not sensitive to the Achilles. They're just like, hey, yeah, watch the calf, right? Let's zoom in on that. We now can see it pop. We don't even need a doctor expert here to make this official. But my thought on that is showing everybody, and you know this from every guy you ever talk to in professional sports and not even professional sports. It's a very hard thing to deal with an injury, not for everybody else, but for you personally, for people around you, for all those things. And so we're so, in a world that we're so sensitive about mental health, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying like it is top of mind. It is a little bit surprising that we're so okay with showing everybody that's involved with a guy getting hurt and going down, right? Like, it's a little surprising. I haven't seen an article or anything on that. I'm sure it's been written, but there's going to be a hell of a balance right now with TV folks and other folks covering that okay, how do you balance that part of it?
Yeah, and and once again, maybe this is where some of the distaste from Doris Burke comes, because like everybody was amping this up, like going into the halftime, showing the injury again. How are they going to respond in the second half? Like, I mean, Brent, like I literally thought there was for a second where there was going to be something with like FanDuel or DraftKings. We're going to be like, okay, now let's go to the live look of people who had the over of Tyrese Haliburton points. Let's see what their reaction is.
Yeah.
Like let's go to Tyrese Haliburton's high school coach to see how he's responding. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Let's go to Tyrese Haliburton's biggest fan. He's a 9-year-old kid watching the game right now live at home in Indiana. Let's see what he's doing. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, yes, he got hurt. It's a catastrophic injury. It's too bad. The story should have been, well, hey, look at how good Indiana's playing despite losing Tyrese Haliburton. Not, man, I wonder what these players are thinking right now. Man, and once again, this goes to show you, and it's surprising too, Brent, right? Because Richard Jefferson, I believe, was one of the people on the call last night.
Yeah.
He's been on the court. He's a veteran. He knows, like, Richard, there's no way when we're talking about the third and fourth quarter and you're playing for a championship, you're still going back to, man, how you guys think Tyrese Haliburton's doing right now? Like, you can't. You just, there's no way you can do your job and think about somebody that went down 2 quarters prior. So it just left a bad taste in my mouth, Brent. And then yeah, to kind of go to the whole halftime thing of trying to copy Shaq, Charles Barkley, Ernie, and Kenny, like what they do so well, Brent, is that it's effortless. Like they don't try.
They don't
They're
try.
just being themselves, right? And when we talk about what I was watching last night with Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins, like it almost seems like you have a bunch of guys that are trying to go into business for themselves and not like for the betterment of the halftime show. Like, yeah, Stephen A. Smith, he's a giant ranter, and then him and Kendrick went at it a little bit, whatever. Like, but once again, that's just drama. Like when you see Shaq and Chuck go at it, it's genuine, right? Because these two guys were gladiators that went against each other. They played basketball in an era that was a lot more physical, a lot more old school and everything. And it's just the game has changed, and then the way that the game is covered has changed. So it was disappointing last night from a lot of factors. Obviously, it wasn't an exciting game in the second half. The coverage I feel like wasn't exciting, and the halftime show left a lot to be desired.
I'm gonna give one defense of those folks doing that. With the way the NBA works, and I'm not saying last night would have been this, but the way the NBA works, a lot of people do skip out on the first half, man. Like it's just get ready to tune in the third quarter, fourth quarter. I think it does that's a real thing. And I mean, maybe they're just trying to revisit those storylines for people that did that. I mean, quite frankly, I was one of those that did it. I didn't watch the Haliburton thing in real time. I wasn't in front of a TV at that time. But then I jumped back in and then I saw it because they played it. So now I could have found it easy on Twitter too. Like you don't need to play it. So there's always a way to find it. But I'm just wondering if maybe that's a little bit a part of it. All right, OKC wins. There was something Mike Breen said again. You know me. I do not claim to watch all the NBA, know the NBA. Obviously, we talk a little bit more about it. You learn a little bit more about it. We're watching the finals and the playoffs. So definitely one of those guys. I think what's fascinating to me, he said something right at the end that caught my attention, and I start relating it to the Jags. I think they said 5 second-round picks and 3 undrafted free agents were part of their 12-man rotation. That is unheard of in the NBA. I mean, Kevin Durant just got traded for 5 second-round draft picks yesterday, and other things, but they just throw them in. I mean, a second-round draft pick in the NBA, people have to understand this. That's called a bag of sunflower seeds in baseball, like when you have a trade. Like, that is literally a bag of sunflower seeds for people. Like, they just don't care about second-round picks. Mm-hmm. Well, this team did. This team really did, and obviously they arrived early to the dance, right? This is a young team that they didn't expect would win a championship like right now if you had mapped it out. And I find that fascinating. What a build. I mean, now they could be onto something. Do they go on a dynastic kind of run? There'll have to be a lot of elements, right, involved with that, keeping players, adding other players, making the right moves. But, I mean, this could be the start of a dynasty.
Yeah, well, without a doubt. Because I think they do have the role players, they do have the talent to back it up. And I think more interesting now, too, going forward, Brent, is the East might be wide open, right? Because with Tyrese Haliburton now going down, like that's going to be some time off, obviously. And unfortunately, it sucks to have the conversation, but what will he look like when he comes back, right? Because it took KD a while to kind of regain his old form again coming after that Achilles. And I forgot who the doctor was, Brent. I'm sure you may have seen this on Twitter, but I forgot who the doctor was. There was a doctor that came out a couple days ago and made this video. He's like a sports medicine guy, and he was cautioning the Indiana Pacers to use Tyrese Haliburton like they were using, because he said like he had a calf injury, and he said he's worried that calf is going to get so weak that it's going to filter down to his Achilles, and he's going to rupture his Achilles. Now, obviously, this video is like trending and everything as it should, but like this doctor had the foresight to call it out like 4 or 5 days ago what was going to happen. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think now, I mean, obviously Oklahoma City, I think they're going to be the toast of the West for a while. I understand like you got Luka and the Lakers still and everything, but like SGA proved why he's the MVP right now, right? And that's what you want to see when the lights are the brightest. When the stakes are the highest, like if you're the MVP, you're supposed to go out there and have that influence on the game. And, for the most part, he did. I think in the East right now, man, it's wide open. You still have the Celtics. you still have the Cavs, but besides that, I mean, I guess the Knicks too, but
Yeah,
we'll see
they don't
if the
have a
Knicks try
coach.
to make some plays. So it'll be interesting next year to see how it plays out in the East.
Yeah. Hey, before two quick things. We don't have to go long on this, but I like to relate things to the Jags, like the roster build. And so when I see an OKC team that arrives early, they have young guys. I say, hey, can the Jags do that? Are we looking at Sam Presti's been very good? Is maybe James Gladstone is the guy if this works? It's the buttons that he pushes. Would this be considered an early arrival? Let's just say the Jags won. I'm not telling you to win it all, but in the next couple of years, like, is that an early arrival given where their roster is? Because they do have a complement of older players as well. Like the old guy on OKC was Alex Caruso, right? Like, and that was basically it for the most part. How would you characterize the Jags? If they were to do well, go to the postseason, make a run of some kind this year, would that be an early arrival, kind of like an OKC run, or what?
Yeah, it's wild because we would maybe call it an earlier arrival, but at the same time, like, what year is Trevor Lawrence going into? Like, what year is your franchise quarterback going into? You have a guy like Josh Hines Allen, who's one of the best edge rushers in the league. Like, so you have experience. So I wouldn't say it's an early arrival because, excuse me, at the key positions, you still have that veteran leadership, especially at the most important position, at the playing quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, just for the sake of argument, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th year for SGA in the league.
Doesn't feel like it, yeah.
You know what I mean? He feels like a super young guy, but it's a 7th year. And I think we get a little bit swamped with, oh, look, Mahomes year 2, Burrow year 2 goes to the Super Bowl. Year 2 guys have done very well in the NFL, especially quarterbacks. But Trevor, a year 5, if I really want to go back and research this, probably is still pretty early to go to a Super Bowl, or something like that at year 5. Even, but you're right. This team, because we're around it, feels older in spots. They even have several 30-year-old guys now with Armstead and bringing back Smoot and some Murray back in the back end. So, I don't know how I feel, but I do think there's a sense, at least from a timetable standpoint, that nobody's predicting the Jags to really win big this year. So if they were to win big, it would feel like 22 a bit, where it's like, oh, they've arrived probably ahead of schedule, but maybe not to the degree OKC is and how they built it. One last thing before I get you out of here, and we will talk a little. John Jones retired, so we'll bring that up. Don't let me forget that later on. But Big Dog said, good morning, Austin. Mr. Brent Austin, I hear a lot about rookie fatigue going from college to pro. Is this inevitable for Travis, or can it be monitored without stunting growth? He goes on to say, I would love for him to specialize one side, do spot duty on the other side. And we've got some other comments about just how good the endurance is for Travis Hunter. But is there some concern about that? Because I talk about this all the time too, right? There's no break for the young player. They're still there. The veterans are already broken. They're still there. Like, that's how little of a break there is for the rookie player in general. Should we be concerned about that going into the season at some point of the season?
Yeah, so to me, you should be concerned depending how you use him. And I don't mean use him on the field. I mean use him on the days that, are lighter practices, on the days of preparation. Because, there's the rookie style and then there's the veteran style, right? There's like the 8-year veteran style where sometimes you get a day off. So sometimes in practice you get limited reps. And it's wild to be having that conversation about a rookie simply because, well, he still has so much he has to learn, right? You still have to coach him up and everything. But this rookie's playing both sides of the ball, Brent. So I would err on the side of caution, right? So if we're talking like we're in the middle of the season, and guess what? Every rookie's going to hit that wall. It's just a fact of life. But if we're in the middle of the season and hopefully you're competitive, then maybe I pull back the reins a little bit on Travis Hunter simply because he's playing so many reps in the game. Now, could this rub some of the other rookies the wrong way? Maybe, and that's going to be on them. Then I'm going to tell them, well, you guys can learn how to play 2 positions yourself, and then you'll get the Travis Hunter treatment. But I always err on the side of caution, Brent, as opposed to pushing him. Even though this guy's got tons of energy, he's got the right mind for it, you don't want to overdo it his rookie year.
Yeah, I think this is going to be something we'll talk about a little bit more. But we talk about the unicorn nature of him and what he's trying to do. It sounds like he's a unicorn. At times even, I wouldn't say of a human being because there are a lot of good human beings. But I do think he might be unicorn-esque in terms of his endurance. Like there are people that run Then there are people that run half marathons. There are people that run full marathons. And then we've done stories on people that run like those 130-mile Death Valley races out in California. Like, there are those people that is just, it's different. And I'm wondering if he is in that kind of category from a stamina standpoint for whatever reason. I don't know the sports science behind it. But you do wonder if he's that different, Austin, than everybody else.
Listen, he may have the endurance and the energy to go a full season. But then when you start mixing that up with NFL hits, with guys tackling you, with you having to tackle bigger bodied guys, with you having to try to cover a number one receiver, with you getting hit by a safety or something like that, then that changes the game up a little bit. So yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind that this guy has the energy to go the whole season. But will that energy be coupled a little bit when you mix in the physicality of NFL football?
Yeah, it'll be something to watch, no doubt. And by the way, there's a mental part of this too. I mean, there's a mental fatigue you can't see coming. Sports science can't maybe even capitalize or capture, so there's something to watch there. All right, man, go get a workout in. We'll talk to you a little bit later. That is Austin Lane, and he's down in South Florida. He'll join us in the back end of the show. I do want to ask him about John Jones' retirement over the weekend. That became a big deal, and a little bit more on Travis Hunter and the Jags and probably the defensive line room. I will wait to talk to Austin about that. Let's take a break. Brent Martineau, Kim's Corner in Austin as well. We're going to go over to Episcopal on the show today. Last week, we took you to the Coastal Collegiate Baseball League live on the field, had guys mic'd up. Well, we're going to mic up an Olympian, at least try it, and head over to Episcopal, and we'll meet up with that guy right there. I'll tell you all about it coming up next on a beautiful morning in Jacksonville. A hot one, but a beautiful morning in Jacksonville. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
The Fleet continues its summer swing with the Jacksonville Armada men's and women's teams finding success on the pitch so far in 2025. The girls in blue find themselves in the thick of a three-way battle for the Sunshine Conference crown with an undefeated mark at home. They wrap up the schedule with a pair of Friday night showdowns. As for the boys in blue, they remain unbeaten this summer and top the table in their conference, with crucial road games still to come down the stretch against Naples and New Orleans, after a final home game versus FC Florida. All those matches are at Edward Waters University, and you can watch them live on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Kinetico reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
It's fast-paced,
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
high fly,
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
action-packed, weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
How about Keegan Bradley? You ready for the Ryder Cup in September? And Tommy Fleetwood, man, listen. Fleetwood seems like such a good dude. Easy to root for a guy. Blew a 3-shot lead, missed that par putt. And then Bradley, I mean, the place went nuts. He's in Connecticut, so he's a New England guy, Massachusetts guy. And he's going to be the Ryder Cup captain. He is playing well enough to play, and it seems like it's trending that way, that he could and might and maybe will play in the Ryder Cup along with captain it. For the U.S. team. So a pretty wild scene there on CBS 47 last night. Also a shout out to Austin Kim, finished tied for second. She's from Nice High School in St. Augustine, tied for second at the Women's PGA Championship. That's like $1 million payday, by far her biggest, and her best finish, and not only in a major, but her best finish on the LPGA Tour. She just got full-time status recently. Brent Martineau, back here in the Action Sports Jax studios, Kim's Corner. Austin Lane will rejoin us a little bit later on. Got a conversation. We're going to go out to Colorado on Travis Hunter, talk about some of the behind the scenes in the Colorado days and how that's now translates to us getting to know Travis Hunter a bit more. So that conversation coming up in just a bit. This week on the show, by the way, we're going to highlight some different charities. So we'll have our Dream 18 charities on and some others as well. End of June, and thought that might be a nice thing to do to get everybody up to speed and give some love to some of the local charities in the area as well on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It won't be the entire show, but it will just be at different times. And of course, we'll be talking a lot of Jags and their position groups along the way. And then, just a programming note, I'll say this often and early and often, that we will be on a little bit of a hiatus for a couple weeks in early July. We'll have programming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It'll be filled up. So you turn it on actionsportsjax.com. You can watch it like it's your favorite TV station. Hopefully it will be, just streaming instead. And there will be content all day, every day. But as for the show, we'll take a little bit of a break and get rearing and ready to go for football season on the back end of it. But right now, let's go over to Episcopal School of Jacksonville, and we want to visit with Garrett Scantling. He's an Olympian, folks, and he's training, I think, to go back. He's got a big event coming up this weekend, now 32 years old, if I have that right. And I think he can hear me. What's up, man?
What's going on, Brent? How you doing?
I'm doing great. You look fantastic, and dang, it's hot out there, isn't it?
Man, let me tell you, we got camps going on all around me at Episcopal. Some mom already came to pick up her kids because it was too hot outside. So, yeah, I'm burning up. I just started warming up, and I'm already just drenched in sweat.
Stay hydrated, man. Stay hydrated. All right, so if people don't know, Garrett does the decathlon, which is really one of the most grueling events, if not the most grueling event that you can do. But before we go backwards, and you let me know if you've got to go do something. I don't want to interrupt you too much because I know you're in hyper focus mode because you've got an event I think coming up this weekend at Bowles. You're a teacher at Episcopal. You're coaching at Episcopal, and it looks like you're training again for 2028, right?
Yes, sir. So I've over the past 3 years, Episcopal I went to school here, 6th through 12th grade, and I kind of came to them and asked them for a position here, and they have been nothing but wonderful for me. Just to be able to be around these kids and kind of tell them that I was in their shoes at one point, and look how I turned out kind of thing. I had my ups and downs, especially here. But it's just been a wonderful experience for me just to understand, number one, patience, and just number two, how to give back. It's been amazing. So yeah, my competition will be Friday and Saturday of this week at Bowles, and this will be my first competition in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go. I feel amazing. I think just the break has been wonderful for my body. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So when you say we'll see what happens, what is your expectation that you can? And where's this on the roadmap? Like, what do you have to prove to yourself this weekend that kind of says, hey, my body feels great. I know I can make the Olympics and perform well at the highest of levels, but the roadmap starts kind of this weekend to getting to 2028. What do you have to prove to yourself?
I'm doing this in front of my friends and my family because I feel like if I can do it in front of them, then I can do it anywhere in the world because those are the people that matter to me the most. Really, I think the biggest kind of prove me thing that I had this year was I went to Illinois the past 4.5 weeks. My coach who coached me at the University of Georgia is the head coach at the University of Illinois. And he, brought me up there, wanted to see where I was at, and I was further ahead than even I thought I would be. And so just knowing that if I'm healthy, my body is stronger than it was in 2022 when I stopped. It's faster. Like I said, I'm 32. Like you said, I'm 32. And so things can turn on an instant. And so it's just about kind of doing everything a little bit more thorough, being nicer to my body once I'm done training. But like I'm PRing in everything, every event just about. And I feel really confident going into this meet. This meet is so if I would have came in third at the Olympics in Tokyo instead of fourth, I wouldn't have to do this. I would have an automatic bye to USA Champs, which are at the end of July. But since I did come in fourth, I have to score over 8,100 points. And my PR is 8,867 points. So for people who don't know what points are, it's basically you get, for how well you do in an event, you get X amount of points. And so through 10 events, they all add up at the end. And so 8,100 points is not too much to ask of me. I just need to be smart. I need to get through all the events healthy, and just honestly for myself, just prove that I'm back and that I can really do this again this time.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, really, what you're doing. I know we bring up the age, 32 years old, but I feel like that's not old, right? In your sport, and you'll be 35 or 36. Like, where's that on the old versus prime kind of meter?
Yeah, so usually, I think in the past, like maybe 20 years, your prime in the decathlon is probably like 27 to 31. But there's a guy in Canada who was the gold medalist in Tokyo, and he kind of redefined it. I think he was 34 when he won gold. He's like 36 and 37 now. But he's doing wonderful things. Like he's still healthy. He's still, clicking on all cylinders. And so just seeing that and just the fact that, my favorite athlete is LeBron James and he's kind of redefining everything, just kind of gives me the confidence that I need to know that I have the ability to do this. And this is actually the second time I've taken 3 years off. The first time was when I came in fourth at 2016 trials. And I retired from the sport for 3 years, was a financial advisor here. And I think that those 2-3 year breaks kind of make my body feel a little bit more put together and younger, to be honest with you. And so I have the utmost confidence in my body's abilities to make it through however long I do want to compete. Even though I've kind of put the cap at 2028, I want to just start my life and stop, killing my mind with all these workouts and stuff. So, yeah, I'm very confident that kind of the age that I'm at right now is perfect. Because in the decathlon, you think so much, right? You're out there for 5 events a day. And so if you're not mature enough to kind of battle through anxiety, turn the page when something goes wrong, it kind of affects you a lot. And so I feel like I have my mind catching up with my body at this point, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's well said. That makes a lot of sense. Garrett Scantling was over at Episcopal's. He's getting ready for a big event this weekend. Olympian, finished 4th in Tokyo. And by the way, he did personal bests while finishing 4th, so a lot to be proud of, and that's all you ask for, really, if you're in these kind of events where there's a clock and there are points, and if you can do your best, and on that particular week or Olympics, it was good enough for 4th, and maybe other Olympics it would have been good enough for a silver. So who knows? But I know you're proud of that part, right? That you when you can do your absolutely best on the biggest of stages. And by the way, I read that about what you just said. I read that you had taken years off. You came back in 19 and you were 4th in Tokyo in 20. That sounds insane to me that you were able to do that and perform at that level in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's why I have so much confidence going into this next kind of chapter of my life, is that I've done it before. And experience teaches you everything. You're going to go through adversity in your life, but it's all about how you bounce back from it. And so Tokyo I think that was the second year that I had been back. And what kind of stinks about my previous Olympic experience is that it was during COVID. And so I couldn't have my family there. I couldn't have my support system. There was no crowd in the stands. And for me, I'm a very energetic guy. Like, I have to feed off the crowd. I got to get the claps going. I got to get everyone. I'm starting to scream. And so the first 4 events, it was really kind of getting off the ground. And I started really slow. And I remember going into the break room before my 400 meters, which is the last event of the first day. And I called my mom, and they were having a party back home, like 30, 40 people in the house. Like, they were doing a bunch of things just to watch me compete. And my uncle just told me, he's like, "Hey man, I know you're frustrated, but like, you're there."
Did we lose him? Hey, hold that part of the story. That's a good story if you can hear me. I'm not sure he can even hear me. Yeah. Okay. We'll get Garrett off here for a second. We'll get him back on. I think might be Liv in the background running to double check how we get him back on, but we'll get him back on. And everything sounded great. It was awesome, Garrett. So. We'll hopefully finish that story because he kind of left us. I think I know. I heard. See, one of the things that got me thinking about Garrett, just to let you know, get a little background. I saw him at the Bob Hayes Gala, and he was up there and he was sharing his story, and he was actually sharing that very story about how he was a little bit frustrated, but everybody was so proud of what he was doing. And I was like, man, people don't even know in town enough about Garrett Scantling. I mean, guys, he was 4th in Tokyo at the Olympics. And I always come back to this, and if you watch the show enough, you hear me say, I think we take for granted some of our athletes. I mean, Derrick Henry was up in Yulee this week giving back. We know Derrick Henry, and we think about Derrick Henry. We talk about Derrick Henry. We know the football folks. But then there are so many other folks, from swimmers to track and field to baseball to golf. I mean, this area is just littered with such good talent. And I remember covering Garrett in high school, and when I first arrived, Went to Georgia, by the way. He played some football, too. He actually had a tryout, and we'll ask him a little bit about this, hopefully later if we can get everything cooking again, with the Falcons recently or somewhat recently. And his brother, Hunter, very good baseball player. Dad, Mike, big guy to begin with, but Mike bigger than both of them, at least in the weight room, and not as tall. But Hunter was a very good baseball player, went to Florida State. Got drafted 2 different times. So a very talented, athletic family, good people, and we'll hopefully catch up with Garrett a little bit more as he continues his workout. He said we weren't bothering him, so hopefully we're not. But he's going to taper off the rest of this week before the Friday and Saturday event. By the way, that was a little crazy. Like, if he had finished in the top 3 in the Olympics, he'd be automatically qualified into that next stage, is what he said. And if you finish 4th, like, if you're in the 4th in the Olympics and 3rd would have been okay, you'd think it would be a top 5 or a top 10 even in the Olympics, or top 8 that you get automatic in. Interesting that it doesn't work out that way. So we'll talk to Garrett Scantling a little bit more coming up on the way. Oh, I see what happened. The phone got hot. Yeah, that does happen. So we might have to give it a little time to cool off. The good news is we're here until 1. So hopefully he can get working out a little bit, and we'll get that back up and running and visit with Garrett a little bit more. Might have to put that phone in the pocket instead of on the track. That's how hot it is out there. Been there, done that. And I'm sure you have as well along the way. Hey, let's do this. Let's take a time out. And when we come back, I've told you that we did an interview with Romy Bean out of CBS in Denver about Travis Hunter. And so on the other side, we'll play that, and most likely, unless we get Garrett back on, but we'll play that. So a little Travis Hunter conversation coming up, and then we'll have more with Garrett. And I want to talk more about the decathlon. Decathlon's grueling. What's he good at? Why the decathlon? All the different events that he could have done and could have been in, and all the things that he's tried. And he's so athletic and gifted. Why pick the decathlon of all things? Not too many people choose that. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he did. So we'll be back over at Episcopal School of Jacksonville in a bit. Hey, how about the Jacksonville Sharks? How about Tyler Huff, man? He's been awesome. The kid out of Ridgeview High School, speaking of locals, he just ran that dude over. I think we might show a little replay of this if we hang on for a bit longer. Maybe we don't. But he ran him over at the end of that run. Had a few touchdowns running. They scored on every possession. Here it is. Watch this at the end of it. Boom! The Sharks crush Quad City, 65-33, huge win for the Jacksonville Sharks. They go now to 8-4. Quad City was a top team in the Indoor Football League, so a massive win for those guys as they hit the road this week, then have a bye week, and then will come back home on July 12th. We are your official streaming network of the Jacksonville Sharks here on Action Sports Jacks 24/7. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater, plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
The Jacksonville Armada women get the win. 3-1 on Friday night, part of a doubleheader on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network this weekend. Not your usual doubleheader. It was more of a double dip because Friday and Saturday, 7 o'clock Armada matches. Ladies on Friday, they got the dub, and then the men, too, on Friday. We'll share a little bit of that later on. Brooke Bunton it was one of the stars of the game. There she is, number 13. She's going to play with the U.S. Youth National Team. You know, we're talking to Garrett Scantling here, talk about an Olympian, a guy on the world level. We have a lot of local girls, ladies, women in the soccer realm that are doing just that. A super talented area for girls soccer, as we know from the high school state championships. But some of those not only just going to college and big D1 schools, but also going to play at the elite level on the global stage. Brent Martineau back here in the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network studios. Kim's Corner as well. Olivia out at Episcopal with Garrett Scantling. And I think what happened was the phone overheated, so I think we've got Garrett back. We appreciate his patience. We're probably really screwing up this workout that he had planned today. And hey, you were right in the middle of a story, if you can hear us. And I want you to finish that because it was your first day at the Tokyo Olympics. You had finished the first day, and it sounded like you were getting a pep talk from the partying family members.
We don't have his audio.
Hold that thought again, Garrett. Now the audio sounded so good, but Liv, you're going to have to go get that audio fixed. Hey, when we try to do this is what happens. We do have one flaw in the system that we never fully know if it's going to work until we take it live. That's one thing about this. But see if you get levels next time before we take them live, and then we'll vote for that to be hopefully the final thing. It looks fantastic. Sounded so good when we started out. But we will get back with Garrett here in just a little bit. Hey, position group for the Jags. I'm not going to get right into it just yet because I think we'll end up getting back to Garrett here in a moment. We are going to talk defensive line, and we'll hear from the Jags defensive line coach as well on the show today. Just a couple of minutes with him as we still have all these assistant coaches that we've talked to over the last couple of weeks, and I don't think you've heard them all. We played a lot of the offensive coaches, and we'll try to get to some of the defensive coaches this week here on the show. Hey, a couple other things that happened this weekend. How about Coastal Carolina loses to LSU in the College World Series? Hats off to LSU. Hats off to Coastal Carolina. They won 26 games in a row, and then they end the year with a 2-game losing streak. They just got outplayed. If you watched any of that, they got outplayed. LSU was just better. The pitching was better. It was deeper. I can hear them now, by the way. And the umpiring was atrocious. They ejected Coastal Carolina, almost the whole staff in that game in Omaha. So I think you saw probably a lot of that on social media if you care about it. And I'm just here to tell you that was bad. And listen, we try not to kill the umps all the time, but that was just a bad place and time for everything that took place. It was a bad look. I thought. Some people said, oh, it's on the coach too, but I don't think it's on the coach. You got to give a ton of rope in a situation like that. Ejected in the first inning was kind of nuts. But I also don't think it changed the game. I mean, let's not go crazy. LSU is just better. They're pumping 102 out of the pen. I mean, that's probably going to get the job done. They pay their guys pretty well, and they can pay more. And at the end of the day, in the 7th, 8th inning, they got more dudes coming out of the bullpen to shut Coastal Carolina down, and it certainly looked like that was the difference. All right, Kim, what do you think? Want to try again? All right. We had a couple false starts here, but I think we're going now. I think we've got let's see if we can hear you, Garrett. Kim, you lied to me. There we go. We got it. There we go. There we go. We got you. All right. Hey, Garrett, we try something different here on the show. This is pretty unique, and when that happens, well, we do get some false starts. So apologies for that.
That's all right. That's all right, man. I'm here for you guys. Like whatever we need to do, we'll make it happen. But I know that I was talking about my days in Tokyo. Obviously the slow start, the first 4 events, and then I did call my mom at the end before the 400 meters, and my uncle is the one who ended up picking up, and he just I talked to him and was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why I feel so slow out of everything. I don't know why I'm lacking in energy. And he just he reminded me that just kind of everything I had been through up to that point. He said, just remember all the adversity you've already faced. Remember that, you've made it back to this point. It's the biggest stage in sports. So he's just like, go out there and be yourself and have fun. And I PR'd by half a second in the 400. I think I ended up with 4 PRs in that competition, with the last one being the mile. So if you know any decathlete, they hate the mile, right? they just can't stand it. I mean, for me, I'm a big guy, so it's like, it's a lot of energy expended, and it's the last event. So it's the 10th event. You have so much, exhaustion from the competition. But I PR'd by 10 seconds in the mile. And so it just kind of showed me that no matter how slow you start, it's all about how you finish. And so, I came in 4th. I think I had to beat the Australian by 15 seconds, and I had to finish behind the Canadian by 4 seconds. And the Canadian ended up PRing by 11 seconds, and I still finished about 2 seconds behind him. And then I think I missed out on the bronze medal by about 4 or 5 seconds in the end. So that just kind of shows you that in the decathlon, those first 4 events were so important, right? So Even though I finished strong, there's always kind of areas when you go back in hindsight where you felt you could have done a little bit better.
Yeah. So are you proud of all that you just explained, or is there a level of, I don't want to say, I don't think it's full disappointment, but did you feel like you left something on the table, and is that part of the motivation for you trying to go to 2028?
Absolutely. I always think about it. In hindsight, everything you realize you can do better in a lot of things. But for me, I was definitely proud. I mean, you come top 4 in something that you're extremely passionate about, and it's in the world. It's hard to be disappointed in that. But at the same time, like, you understand what you could have done better to make it top 3 or even top 2. Like, I was only 50 points away from top 2. And so, that's definitely fuel. And I think that also I'm such a big family person and a family guy that, having the experience with my mom, my dad, my older brother, Hunter, like I really want them to be able to experience an Olympic journey with me. And so obviously, like, the first dream was making an Olympic team. Now it's about sharing it with the people that I love. And so I think that's the biggest motivation for me going forward, especially since it's in LA and it's on home soil. That's like the pinnacle of sport, and trying to show the rest of the world like what you got and like how proud of your country you are. And so, that's definitely the motivation that I have going forward for sure.
Yeah, I mentioned this while you guys were away, but I said your dad might be the strongest guy in the weight room out of the 3 of you guys. Hunter obviously is a fantastic athlete. Covered him at Episcopal. Obviously went to Florida State. Drafted a couple of times. I mean, athletic family. I don't know as much about your mom. I mean, does some of this athleticism come from mom?
Yeah, it does. I can't sell her short. She she was a high school athlete, so that was kind of the biggest thing that she had done. But she was volleyball, softball. I get a lot of my traits from my mother. No offense to my dad. I have his temperament and just competitiveness. But I think my mom gives me my patience and just my ability to analyze things. For me, I have ADHD. So the biggest problem for me growing up was sitting still in class, trying to focus on things. But as I grew older, I realized that it's really my superpower, right? So I have the ability to hyper focus on things. So if I ever get nervous, I pick a piece of track and I say one word over and over and over again, and it almost completely eliminates all nerves that I have. My mom kind of gave that to me. She told me to understand that this is who I am and to kind of embrace it. And so just having that superpower, I feel like gives me a lot of, advantages in my sport and just ability to overcome a lot of things in my life too.
Is it the same? Is it the same word all the time, or is it a different word?
So it's a different word. So like if I'm in the blocks back here and I'm down in my position, right? So I try to focus on one piece of track, and if it's the 100, I'm thinking about explosive, or get out. I know that's 2 words, but the one thing you don't want to be is passive in the 100. If I'm thinking about, let's say, the long jump, my approach is so long that the first 6 steps need to be drives. A drive is different because you're exploding out and trying to create distance so that you don't run out of energy in the end. So I'm thinking about drive. Then I go back and then I go forward and I just go and do it. So the words change, but the concept is the same. It's basically just to understand what needs to happen in that moment, and just everything else blanks out. And so I really do feel like once I figured that out, and I didn't figure that out in college at all. I always struggled with, anxiety, and just, it was hard for me to sleep in between days because I was thinking about so much. And so me and the decathlon have a love-hate relationship up to this point. It's all love because I understand how to kind of operate through it. But that did not come without its trials and tribulations. And so nowadays, I think maybe at 26 or 27 was when I really unlocked the ability to hone in on what I was supposed to do. And now I can get a full night's sleep in between decathlons. I think at the Olympics, actually, we started day 1 at 8 a.m. and we finished the 400 at 9:52 p.m.
Wow.
So longest day of my life. I had to get back to the village, get treatment, go eat. And I got into bed and put my Normatex on. So the blood flow compression boots. I put them on when I laid in bed, and it was like maybe 1:15, and I fell asleep in my Normatec boots. Had to get back up at 5 a.m. To get ready for call time, which was I think like 8:10 for the 110 hurdles, and then we ran the 1500 at 8:45. And so like just being able to get those 4.5 hours of sleep and not really worry about what was going to happen the next day, it changed my competition. If I was going to sit there and just be anxious the whole night, I would have been terrible the second day. And so just being able to go to sleep is huge now. So my mind's not just running.
Wow, that's really impressive. By the way, that's what makes this so grueling. The lack of recovery time in the decathlon is borderline unhealthy, it feels like. But and also what Garrett just said there, you're not a finished product in high school, by the way, not finished product in college, and probably take this to life, but especially in athletics. All right, I'm getting so uncomfortable because I feel like I'm holding you from doing something. So take us through what you are doing a little bit today. We've seen you jog a little bit. You got loose a little bit over the hurdles. What are you going to do a little bit in a workout on a Monday before a big event coming up this weekend?
Right. So Monday is the most important day just because you can kind of get in all of your technical events, whether that's, so today my responsibilities are starts out of blocks over one hurdle. I need to go do a long jump approach just to make sure my numbers are correct. I need to do a high jump approach just to make sure my numbers are correct. And then I'll do like 1 or 2 shot put throws just to kind of feel it and not do too much to where I'm exhausting myself, but to understand, that it's time to compete. So like right now, I'm about to get in the blocks. Usually I'll stand behind them and so since this is meet week, I'm going to do everything the exact same way that I would do it in the meet. So what I do is once they say runners behind your blocks, they say on your mark, I clap 6 times. I'll shake out my legs, give me a little stretch, and then get into the blocks. So once I do that, I wipe on my right side, everything is usually the same every single time. Then I'll put my head down and wait for the set and the gun. So I'll act like I can hear it in my head. So I'll go set. And then that is a rep. And so it's not going to be completely 100% because once again, like you said, I'm 32. And so the last thing I want to do on meet week is tweak something because the recovery is going to be a little bit longer than I need and than I want. And so I'll do that maybe twice, and then I'll go over one hurdle twice, and then I'll move on to the jumps and stuff. So it's really just kind of rehearsal, I guess I would call it.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're coaching now. Do you think that will make you a better athlete because of some of your teachings?
1,000%. And just the ability to, since I have been training on my own here, understand when I'm, let's say shot put for instance, understand when I'm throwing, if I don't get my foot underneath me, I can feel it. When I'm pole vaulting, looking at the videos and understanding what I teach my kids. And it's really unlocked a lot of different facets to my game. And so I feel a lot more prepared, I guess I would say. And also, you only get 3 attempts in the decathlon. Other events, you get 6, like 3 attempts, and then you get the finals. But for me, having that 1 attempt to feel what I did wrong and then adjust in my head and then go for it the next 2 attempts, I think that's a huge advantage for me. And like I said, I learned so much patience coaching at this level, because obviously you have kids that are super committed, but then you have kids that are just doing this to hang out with their friends. And so it was kind of my job to have both types of people see a common goal and push towards being the best. And so just creating that patience kind of gives me my own patience in myself. And I feel like that's helped me out a lot.
You're a gifted athlete, but obviously there's a lot of technical in here, right? A lot of learned technical things. You just went over it at the starting block. But so where are you, again, on a spectrum of you're better athlete or better technician? How do you view yourself?
I'm a better technician.
Really?
I think that you have people that are sprinters, and so they get a lot of points in the sprints. You have people that are incredible jumpers. One of my main competition, Kyle Garland, he's at Georgia. He trains there. He is a technician, or I say he's a super talented athlete in the jumps and some of the throws. And so, like, for me, I am an above average athlete in every single event. And so that makes me an incredible decathlete, because if you're above average in every single event, usually people have weaknesses. And so my strength is that by the time we get to the 7th, 8th, and 9th event, which are the discus, pole vault, and the javelin, I've pole vaulted my entire life. And so I just kind of bide my time and wait. There are people who kind of explode out of the blocks the first 4 events, and their first day will be better than mine. My last competition in 2022, I was in second I was in second from the first event to the 7th event. And then once I hit the discus and the pole vault, I completely separated from the rest of the field. And so my coach always says that, like, I mean, I had to learn 8 events when I got to college. So Petros at the University of Georgia taught me everything from scratch. And he always told me it's better to teach new habits than bad habits, or than undo bad habits. And so just being able to, just understand that I am someone who's extremely coachable. And I think that's why I would say I'm more on the technician side. Obviously, I have athletic talent. There's nothing, you can't really get to where I've been without it. But I think that the ability to listen and to kind of decipher everything that my coach wants me to do, I think that's my biggest strength.
Yeah, and apply, by the way. I think that's always a gift that people don't talk about, when you can take coaching and apply it. And that's a gift in its own self, and I don't think people talk about that enough. We're visiting with Garrett Scantling, finished 4th in the decathlon in the Tokyo Olympics. He's got a big event at Bowls this week to kind of get back in the rhythm and the flow to train for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, here on home soil, of course. From Episcopal, he's now coaching and teaching at Episcopal as well. He went to Georgia. He's a Bulldog, and I have I want to go back because I'm going to forget about it. Why 6 claps at the start? I know this is a pre-shot routine type of thing for me in golf, right? But like, why the 6 claps?
I don't know. I did that freshman year before one of my PR races. One of my best friends, who was the chaperone on my visit, his name is Corey Holman. He is a big I don't know, he does a lot of claps before the high jump, before the pole vault. He'll get the clap going, a certain amount of claps, and then he'll grab his pole. And I always felt like I wanted something that was mine. You'll have people who do like the jump up routine. And I think, have you seen that picture of Nick Chubb where he's literally this high in the air? Like, people do that a bunch. Everyone before the decathlon especially, they'll let out a big yell, just because it's like, all right, I need to expel all my anxiousness and it's time to go. For me, I don't necessarily want to do that, because I want to hold in whatever I have. And so this is my symbol of yelling, is just clapping as loud as I can 6 times. And so it's worked for me. And so whatever works for you, I guess you kind of dive into it, and whatever makes you the most comfortable on the day of, I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, so many people think you're crazy for doing the decathlon. Why did you do it? Like, what you just said, you got to Georgia, you had to learn like 8 of the events. I mean, so did you? It kind of feels like you might have fallen into this a little bit, where somebody's like, "Hey, you could be really good," or did you determine it? What's the backstory there?
So obviously, I was a football player. I wanted to play football at the next level. I think that was the biggest kind of thing for me. But my offers in football were a little smaller than my offers in track. So like, I was FIU, FAU, Troy. And so like, I wanted to go to FAU. FAU was the one that I verbally committed to them. I was ready to go. And about 3 weeks before signing day, they said they got their number 1 receiver who had decommitted from somewhere else. And now he wanted to come to FAU. And so he was like, we've got a guy that has a higher athletic ceiling than you do. And so we're going to go his way. And so I'll never forget that. It was extremely emotional for me. Like, I was driving to one of my friend's house when I got the news. And I realized that I had to use senior year track just to kind of get to college where I wanted to go. And so I, quote unquote, balled out my senior year. And everyone wanted to recruit me for the decathlon. They saw my size. They saw my brother's size. I mean, I was only 6 feet, 6'1" in a senior year of high school. And I grew 2.5 inches my freshman to sophomore year of college.
Wow.
And so like, obviously that's good job, Petros, for picking me. You know, I'm going to be a little bit bigger for you. But at the same time, like I was a late bloomer. And so I knew that I had to do something in order to get to that next level. And the one thing that honestly I had no idea that I was getting myself into was the decathlon. And I couldn't be more grateful for it. It's taught me so much. It's taught me discipline. It's taught me how to overcome my fears. And I think having something like that in life is just, you know, you can't put a value on it, because that's going to carry me on through the rest of my life, and whatever adversity I may face, and whatever trials and tribulations come my way, I think I'll be prepared for it. So
you didn't lose the football stuff though. I mean, you had tryout with. I mean, you were in camp with the Falcons. Like, was that because obviously you could play a bit, but also was that the passion? Was that like I never lost that love for football a little bit? Was that this? Let's give it a try. Like, what was the mindset and the opportunity there with Atlanta? Even though I know you didn't make it.
Right. So I believe that, you know, having, I think that was right after I'd finished fourth at Olympic trials. You know, I had a lot of doubts in this sport of decathlon. And I was just like, if I can't make it now, when am I going to make it? I didn't really have the confidence in myself that I did now. And then I just kind of was like, I still love football. I still feel athletic enough to give it a shot. And I trained for about 4 or 5 months under a guy named Larry Kirksey, who used to be the wide receivers coach for the Houston Texans. And he kind of taught me a bunch of stuff, gave me the confidence I needed to know that I was good enough athletically. So the biggest thing for me was going on the Falcons. Their wide receivers room was insane. It was absolutely, I mean, that was the year after they lost the Super Bowl. So they still had Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Justin Hardy, and a bunch of other guys, and Taylor Gabriel was there. So I got to learn a lot. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from them was how to be a professional. Because if you don't come in every single day and know that someone else is just as good as you athletically, but if they're committed more, they're going to take your spot. And it's just that clear, cut, and dry. Football's a business at that level. And so, like, I enjoyed it. Like I said, it taught me so much. But I think the lack of classroom knowledge, the lack of knowledge that you would gain in college. So, like, if I'm lining up, I know exactly what I need to do because I know the play, right? But there's a different coverage in me, or a different coverage on me. So I need to know exactly how to adjust my route, what audibles are called. And I think just the fast-paced nature of that, instead of in college, I was used to just doing everything that was already rehearsed, you know, sprinting and slightly turning left. Like, that's all I had to do. And so going to that kind of level with that kind of football players, and like I said, athletically, it was fine. But I think my downfall was being able to adjust everything on the fly. And so I went to the Jags for a tryout for 3 days, I think. And that was when Keenan McCardell was the wide receivers coach. And I'd known Keenan for a while just growing up here. And his big thing was, if he would have come to us first before we put in all this time into our undrafted free agents and all this time into this wide receivers room that we currently have, he would have probably had a better shot. I mean, no offense to the Jags at that point, but like the talent level of the Jags wide receivers room to the Falcons wide receivers room was, I mean, the Falcons wide receivers room was one of the, I think, number one in the country at that point. Just with the Julio Jones and the Mohamed Sanus, just being able to be at that high of a level. And I think at that point we had, like, for the Jags, Aurelius Ben, like that was the end of the portals kind of tenure. And so I definitely felt like I fit in there a lot better. It just, the timing didn't work. And so that's when I kind of quit that. And I was like, athletics are done with me. Let me do what my degree in finance will help me with. And let's try out financial advising. And I love that too. I can't take anything away from it. But like I said, the biggest thing I learned from my short stint in the NFL was how to be a professional and how to show up every day to basically work and put in your best effort.
That's cool, man. Hey, by the way, I say you live life to tell stories on the front porch someday. You've got plenty of stories to tell on the resume, so more than most of us, so that's pretty cool. All right, hey, let's do this. We're going to take a time out. You get back to your workout. We'll visit with you again in just a bit. We appreciate you. This is great catching up with Garrett Scantling as he trains for this weekend's event at Bowles. By the way, can people come out and watch that event at Bowles this Friday and Saturday?
So it'll be Friday. It'll start at 12:15 p.m. It'll go through to about 4 or 5. And then Saturday, it'll start at 9 a.m. and it'll go through to about 2 or 3 when I run the mile. So everyone's welcome to come out. My mom's got just about half the city coming out there, it seems like. So yeah, it'll be a fun time.
That's awesome. By the way, you don't even, I know it's hot out there, but you don't even look like you're sweating. So go get a little sweat in.
I'm in shape, man. I'm drenched. Like, I'm sweating.
All right, we'll visit back with Garrett in just a bit as he's joining us live. Thanks to him and Olivia Tassley for being patient this morning as we take you to Episcopal School of Jacks. Again, the backstory here is Garrett's getting ready really to start his next Olympic journey. His hope is to be in the Olympics in 2028. He was in the Olympics in 2020, just missed out in 2016, now 32 years old, take 3 years off, and now getting back into it as a decathlete and one of the best in the world. And he has to qualify for the next stage this weekend. He's going to do it in front of his home fans and family and friends, and he's going to do that at Bowles coming up on Friday, Saturday. So he's been training and back in it, and joined us this morning live from one of his workouts, which I just continually feel so guilty that I feel like we're taking away from his workout. But he's kind enough to walk us through some of the things in his story, and really cool stuff from trying out with the Falcons and the Jags, and obviously going to Georgia and Episcopal, getting out of the sport and doing his finance major and getting into the real world and now back into the sports world. He's teaching and coaching at Episcopal. Really neat story with Garrett Scantling, and we'll check back in with him in just a little bit. Rob's joined the show for just a little bit. Appreciate Rob stopping in. Rob, we're going to take a break so we stay on time. And on the other side of the break, our plan is to probably play that Travis Hunter interview. I've been, not interview, an interview about Travis Hunter as we go out to Colorado, and maybe we'll do that coming up next. We still have position groups to get into. Austin Lane revisits. John Jones retires. The NBA, of course. Defensive line group with the Jags. And have you seen the story about killer bees? Austin Lane on bees. Maybe today if we get to it. If not, sometime this week. It needs an update. And by the way, if you have any questions for Garrett, send them in through the chat or Twitter or anywhere else, YouTube, and we can ask Garrett if you have some questions about the decathlon and what he's doing and what he's done. Maybe we can share some of those. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Monday on the Brent Austen Show, the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
Action-packed. Weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University. Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Will Olive, Mandarin High School. Go Stangs.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002. Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School. Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com. Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to a Monday on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. One kind of week to finish off the month of June, and kind of feels like, you know, we're just getting going with summer, but in a weird way for me, it's like, all right, summer's going to go by quick because obviously we'll be back the week of, what would that be, the 21st for Jaguars training camp, and that really gets us going into our football season. Just, again, a couple of reminders on the programming side of things. We appreciate everybody who hangs out with us each and every day on the show, and we ramp up and build up now toward football season. In early July, we'll take a couple-week hiatus with this show, not the network. Now, the network will still have all different things, including maybe even Jacksonville Armada playoffs, some more Jacksonville Sharks, and then the other shows, most of those guys don't do what we do. So Young and Norvell in the afternoon, Miller and Moulton, they'll be on almost on a daily basis, if not on a daily basis. And then we have a bunch of programming that we run throughout the day that will not stop. So just for our show, the Brent Austen Show, we do this in early July, and we've been doing that now for a handful of years, where we take a couple weeks and kind of gear back up toward football season right around the 4th of July and and then some a bit. And by then, I think, although we appreciate Kim and Rob and everybody sitting in, I think Hamby's going to be back in the fold on a regular basis. Dude works on the show like 7 times in 7 weeks for us. I hope we don't pay him extra. But he will be kind of back in the fold, and everybody's back from doing all their different things. Austin will be back from his fight, hopefully with a W. On the other side of it in mid-July. So that's coming up. Now, this week, we're going to feature several charities, including Fourth and Gold, St. Michael Soldiers, North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. We'll have some more information on our Dream 18 golf tournament coming up. You can actually sign up now, but we'll officially push out actionsportsjacksstream18.com and working toward the tournament, which is really just 3 months away now on September 22nd at the golf club at Southampton. So there'll be a little bit more information coming out later in the week on that as well. But we're going to be talking sports all week too, right? Talk about the Jags, talk about what else is going on in part of our Jags conversation, position groups, and we're going defensive line today. Kim, I don't know if you can get your hands on our short interview with Matt Edwards, the defensive line coach of the Jags, but we might get into this, why not right now for a bit, and then ask Austin a little bit more about it. I mean, the bottom line is, for the Jags defensive line group, it could be really good. I mean, it's hard to line up something on paper that looks too much better than what the Jags have on paper. I mean, look, Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall pick, ascending player. Josh Hines-Allen, 17.5 sack guy, $30 million a year guy. High expectation. We should have it. He's mad, too. He wasn't in that top 10. Even better. Then you have guys like Eric Armstead, who also should be pretty juiced up to play and have a chip on his shoulder from last year. And I think they're going to put him in the right spot. We'll hear from Coach Edwards on that in just a little bit. Then you have Devon Hamilton, who again should have some motivation to get back to form, and the guy that they gave a contract to before he had the back injury. But now he's a couple years removed from that. I think he's an interesting X factor in all of this because he plays a somewhat forgotten position anyway, even if you play well. And he has the ability to play well. And then there's some depth, of course, with unknown in the interior, but I think reasons to be excited, from a Jordan Jefferson who flashed a little bit to a guy like Mason Smith, who I think flashed a little bit more than a little bit. And where are those guys going to grow to? Are those good selections? Are they good picks out of LSU that this current regime can get a lot out of? And now you start looking toward the future, and you've got some good young impact players on the defensive interior. There are other players now, too, added to the mix, of course, in the free agency period. The Jaguars, well, the late free agency period, just recently, from Agba to Smoot, that give you hope that a handful of sacks, 3, 4, 5 sacks, maybe up to 6 sacks, could come from those kind of players to complement the Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker duo. So there's a lot to like on that defensive front. Now, again, it is not established enough to be able to say, write it down. You're going to get this. So with that comes curiosity and questions, and maybe for some even a bit concern. But I think there are plenty of reasons to be excited about that line. I feel like when players are playing with a chip, when players are playing to prove something, that puts them in a great mental frame of mind. That usually delivers on a pretty nice season. Not for everybody. We just had an example of Andre Sisco. That didn't work out well for him last year. But think about Trayvon Walker. I don't believe that young man is motivated by money, but how can't you be motivated a little bit by the business part of this, where this is the year to have your best year? Because he's going to get paid a lot of money if he does. And it antes up with the better he plays. So I really like where the defensive line is for the Jags. I think they finally addressed the pass rush depth. I think they have some young players that you got a sense of. I think they have veteran players that can do the job, and now it's up to this coaching staff to get the best out of them. So the Jags defensive line group, to me, really could be a strength of the entire football team. And if you get what you think you have, well, there we go. Tick it up. Bigger than something that you had last year, where there wasn't total disappointment, but there certainly wasn't the level of play that you could get really outside of Trayvon and Josh Hines-Allen. So, Kim, let's hear from Coach Edwards. He's the defensive line coach. Just a quick commentary from him on a couple of different topics when we caught up with him a couple of weeks ago. But that includes getting the job, coming from Buffalo, and now working with all the guys that I just said and their resumes.
I mean, first and foremost, they're all good people. Like, they're fun to be around. They work really hard. They're good players, great players. And certainly when you're looking at things as a coach and you look at a roster, this is one of the places where you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, like that would be fun.
How much, with so much focus before you about Eric and where he's playing, it looks like you've got him. I know you have versatility all across the place, but how much is he going to be a value on the inside for you guys?
You know, I think one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that we put Eric in the best position for Eric. And he's done everything we've asked him to. As far as where he's going to fit into the scheme, you know, that's something we'll find out here when fall camp rolls around. But we want to make sure that we're utilizing his unique skill set and also falling back on the experience of other places that he's had, that he's been. So super excited about having Eric in the room. He's a great voice as a vet. He tries to teach. He asks really, really good questions. But as far as like he's going to do this or he's going to do that, I think Eric's of the mindset he's going to do whatever we ask him to do to win, and we're of the mindset like let's put him in the position where he can factor the most.
Fair enough to say you are a pretty loud voice when it comes to re-signing DeJuan Smoot?
I certainly was a voice. Certainly a voice. Just my familiarity with him is the kind of person he is, the work ethic that he has, and the way that he plays. Like when you watch him play, he's fast, he plays violent, he plays hard, and he's a smart player. So being able to add that kind of veteran to the room, in addition to the relationships that he's already built here, I just thought that was a really easy transition for everybody in the room.
There you go. That's Matt Edwards, a Buffalo guy. Well, most recently with Buffalo. By the way, that was a good front. Comes over to the Jacksonville Jaguars and now part of this lineup and coaching staff under Anthony Campanile. I think he's got a lot to work with now. A lot to work with. And, I asked this question. I kind of hesitate writing it on social media. But I do think it could be a fair question. Like, could the Jaguars have the best defensive line in the league at the end of this year? Could they produce to that level? And I understand the immediate answer, like, come on, like, no. From Philly to Kansas City to you name it. I don't even know. I mean, I'm asking the question without even looking through everybody else's defensive lines. I know there are star players on other lines that maybe are a notch up. But again, in reality, like if this is a perfect defense for this group, and if this is the year this group all plays well at the same time, I mean, sure, the ceiling could be that. Why not? And I'm not, again, predicting it. I just don't think it's as far-fetched a question. The ifs are not like mountains to climb. This isn't like some leap of faith deal where I'm saying, if Trayvon Walker gets 15 sacks and he only had 3 in his first 3 years, that's not the deal. The bottom line is there's a really good chance that Josh Hines-Allen, if he plays well, Trayvon Walker, if he plays well, have more than a dozen sacks each. And then what does Armstead do? What does Agba do? What does Smoot do? And then how good are they on the interior anyway without even maybe getting the numbers, but helping those guys maybe even get to 13, 14, 15 sacks? I fully believe that if they had a better interior and if they were in different situations last year in terms of not always trailing, when you're 4-13, it's hard to get a lot of sacks. But these guys ended up with double-digit sacks on the outside, and they trailed like all year. And the push inside wasn't where it needs to be. So it's not a big leap to be able to say, hey, 13, 14, 15 sacks for each one of those guys. That can happen. And then you filter in a couple other ones. Well, then you start adding up those numbers and you start putting them up amongst the premier defensive fronts in the league. Now, you got to stop the run. Again, you got to get that push on the interior, and you got to produce with sacks. So you can't just almost get there. The Jags have had those years too. So I'm not predicting that they're going to lead the league in sacks, and they will be the best front. I just think resume-wise, they have the capability to do it. They really do. Is this the right fit on defense? Are the Jags putting them in a position, meaning is the offense doing its job and they have leads in games where now that defense can go eat a little bit and make game-changing plays? Like, these are all things that have to work, but if it does work, the Jags could be really good on that front. The secondary, so much harder to say. Like, you're not going to say that about the secondary. I'm not even going to pose that question. I'm not going to pose the question about their offensive line. I'm not going to pose the question about their running back room, quite frankly, even though Liam Cohen's had success. I think it's an interesting question about their wide receiver room. Like, can they compete? And we've asked that question, and I don't think it's that far-fetched to at least have the curiosity of it. But I do think wide receiver and defensive front, you can make the case that these guys could be amongst the elite in the NFL. And I stop on maybe should, but given the resumes, like, shouldn't they be one of the top defensive fronts in the league? You've invested like it. Paid Armstead, paid Hamilton, paid Hines Allen, number 1 pick with Trayvon Walker, second round pick with Mason Smith. I mean, why can't that be the expectation? Why shouldn't it be the expectation for the Jags front? Let's get back on track, take a timeout. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Austin's going to visit with us in a bit. We're going to, I think, get back out on the track a little bit with Garrett Scantling. We'll try to do that. And also we hear from the folks in Denver about Travis Hunter and what more we can expect. They love the guy, by the way. I think everybody here in Jacksonville so far loves the guy. Newly signed Travis Hunter, signed, sealed, and delivered. He'll hit a little bit of a summer break and some fishing as well. And then on the practice field coming up in training camp. This is a look at the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. They celebrated Saturday night in Syracuse. You know, I'm not sure how much you care about, like, winning the first half in AAA. They certainly do. But it was an unbelievable comeback, like an epic comeback in the month of June to win the first half. And when you win the first half, you qualify for the postseason. They will host a playoff series in September. We already know that. And they closed the gap by winning 8 of their last 10. And Lehigh Valley choked it away, really. I mean, they did not play well down the stretch. So a heck of a first half and a playoff appearance for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp for the first time since 2017. That will be fun to watch in September.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon-Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
It's been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Talk a little Travis Hunter with somebody that knows him probably better than us. We're getting to know Travis. Say hello to Romy Bean out in CBS in Denver. She followed not only Colorado, but Travis all the way to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. And, well, here he is now in the NFL. Have you guys forgotten about Travis Hunter, or is he still a big deal out there?
Oh, absolutely. We have not forgotten about him. I've paid more attention to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the past few months than, I'm going to be honest, I have in my entire career. I went out there for a game, though. The pool, he got some nice touches there in the stadium, but Travis Hunter is certainly going to be the attraction to watch. It's so exciting to watch this transition from college to the NFL. We've all been wondering, what was it going to look like? And I think for a lot of us here, I know when he got drafted to the Jags, I thought this is the perfect fit for Travis Hunter. This seems like the one team, the one organization that is going to embrace Travis for all he is, for who he is as a human being, and for who he is as a football player. And I think really that's just what I wanted to see, that he had the opportunity to do what he could possibly do in the NFL. And it feels like, I'm not sure if there's any other team that would afford him that opportunity than the Jags. It feels like a perfect fit.
As you know, in our business, we can kind of get a feel of a player or a person. You never really know. And we've had a chance already to have a couple of interviews one-on-one with Travis Hunter. And I walk away thinking he's very simple.
I think we're looking for more layers, right? We're trying to peel it back, and like, there's got to be more in here. He's a 22-year-old who self-admittedly is a kid. He plays video games, he fishes, he plays football, he wants to be great. Are we missing something? Is that who he is? Is that the guy you know?
It's interesting because I remember all of us trying to figure out that same thing. There's got to be more to Travis. And Deion Sanders even used to say all the time, this guy likes to fish. He likes to play football. He likes to hang out with then girlfriend, now wife. And that's about it. Play video games, and that's about it. And it's true. That's who Travis Hunter is. He lives, breathes, and sleeps football. It's his pure passion. And outside of that, he doesn't party. He doesn't go out. You're not going to find him at the clubs. That's not who Travis is. He wants to play ball. He wants to go fishing. He wants to hang out with his wife, and he wants to play video games in his onesies. He's just a kid at heart. He's fun loving. But one thing I love about Travis is he lives his life with so much joy. Like him dancing in between plays, it's always funny to me because it's always going to be ill received by some people. Oh, he's not taking it seriously. Oh, he's in the NFL now. But that's not at all what it is. Travis brings so much joy to his teammates, to everyone around him. What you'll start to see is that he always stops and signs for fans, especially kids. He would do it at every game. The biggest star in the field, always making time for the kids, giving them his gloves. That's just who Travis is. He's a good guy. He's also really smart. His academics, people don't really talk about it. He did really well in school, and his football IQ is off the charts. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to study ball. He wants to play ball, and we're not missing anything. That's who Travis is. And I think that's actually should be something that people are excited about, that he is who he is and you're seeing it, and there's nothing left to really uncover.
I said this to him and he kind of laughed. I was like, you're a corporation. I mean, he's such a big brand. And I know, listen, we're in Jacksonville and we've had some brand people, right? From Maurice Jones-Drew Minshew was a thing for a bit, right? And Trevor Lawrence is a big star across college football. Yeah. But this guy's different now. I mean, this is a different level brand. And I'm not even sure the folks in Jacksonville fully realize it just yet, just how big he is across the country with the kids especially. Did you guys feel that? I know they're up in Boulder, but did you feel that right away, or was it kind of washed away with even some of the Deion that you guys were kind of covering and feeling as well?
That's interesting kind of when you say that, because you could say if somebody maybe would have got washed away with Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, but Travis Hunter is so big in his own right. He was right there with them, and they're all kind of a family, and they were all kind of a big brand together. But Travis Hunter, his own solo brand, was as big, if not bigger, to just stand there with those gentlemen, right? And to kind of create his own path. But everything he does it so organically and true to Travis, and he makes these brand deals, but it always fits who he is. And Travis never really seemed to do anything that he didn't want to do. Kind of goes back to Travis just being Travis. But I think it was so impressive to see those. So his first season, unfortunately, he got injured early on, and that kind of we kind of missed a little bit of the Travis. But as soon as he came back and beforehand, and then his senior season and the rise up to the Heisman, all of it was, you could even see it from, as somebody reporting, the numbers. Anything we talk about with Travis Hunter, that just, these numbers are skyrocketing. Not used to that when you're covering the Colorado Buffaloes. Everything has changed in the past few years. And with Travis, he's never trying to make himself the big name. A lot of it just comes from in his play and what he does on the field. And then you see the things he does off the field. And when you're on the sidelines before the game, watching him interact and get the opportunity to post one of those things and see how people react to that. He's a very beloved person because there's just a purity kind of to Travis. And you see that in his game and who he is off the field as well.
You do the Coach Prime show, and it's, Deion's an interesting character, as long as we've covered sports. I mean, he's a fascinating figure, in my opinion. I think half the time I'm like, man, I really like what he's saying. The other half, I'm like, what's he saying? You can kind of do that with him. And obviously he can be a polarizing person for even when he played all the way until now. But I guess what's interesting from the outside, I kind of associated Travis Hunter with Deion because he's a star. I don't know if he feels very Deion-like, though. What's your interpretation of the difference in the two mega stars as you've been covering it and get to know them a little bit over the years?
Oh, I think they're tremendously different. But I think that, much like I said, how I feel like Jacksonville is the perfect fit for Travis Hunter, Deion Sanders was the perfect coach for him in college because there was no other coach that was going to let him do that was going to let him play every snap on both sides of the ball. But what Dion saw when he saw him, he saw the potential. He saw everything that Travis could be. And he really, the one thing that's really stood out to me about Prime, the coach here, is that he wants to elevate his players and bring the best out of his players. He's got his own brand. He's got his own persona. But when he's there and he's working with these young men, to watch him every week on the show, we have a different player on the show, to watch the way he interacts with these players, he's there to cultivate their best interests and to really help them grow into men, both on and off the field. And with Travis, he just let Travis be Travis. He didn't try to make Travis like him. He didn't try to make Travis like anybody except Travis Hunter. And I think that gave Travis a lot of confidence to be able to go in the NFL and say, I'm just going to be me and I'm going to play my game. And hopefully I end up in a place that accepts that. And of course, it seems like he really has there in Jacksonville, which is just incredible for the sport and for what this could potentially mean for, changing the game for the future. But they really are. They have similarities in the sense that I think in their own personal lives, Dion's actually a much more kind of subdued private guy in his personal life. He always says he's got the Prime persona, and then he's got Dion, the guy who's likes to just go fishing and hang out with his family. So in that respect, him and Travis are very similar, but I think in so many other ways, they are really different. And what Prime did for him is allow Travis to just feel good in his own skin and cultivate kind of the person that we're seeing today.
Romy Bean from CBS in Denver. A couple more quick ones for you. Do you think he can do this at the NFL level? He did it at the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. He's trying to change the game. He wants to play 100 snaps. I don't think they're going to let him play that much. It looks like offense first and then some defense. We'll get an idea of that as the season goes along. Do you think he can do it for not just this rookie season, but for years to come?
I think that's the $1 million question that I just can't wait for September to get here, because what does this look like? Because at the end of the day, he did it, and he did it pretty easily in college. Travis Hunter's endurance is something to behold. The way that he could continuously do this, and he seemed like he never got tired. You'll see him in the locker room post-game, and he's dancing around after he's played 120 snaps. It's just crazy. But of course, we know in the NFL, everybody's bigger, faster, stronger. This is a different brand of players that he's playing against. Let's do it akin to the Broncos, because the Broncos and Jags are going to see each other late in the year. Are you going to play a full game of snaps guarding Cortland Sutton, and then you're going to play a full game of snaps going up against Pat Surtain II, right? Are you going to be able to do that for 17 games against X receiver and, X cornerback? That is a heavy load, right? So I think it is just, what I'm excited about is that I think he's going to get the opportunity to, in some way, some form, be able to do this, perhaps transform the position, perhaps young men start trying to be this athlete as opposed to wide receiver or corner. But what does it look like longevity wise? Can you do it for 17 games? Is there a buildup that we see? Does it become more of a package thing, right? Maybe he's not base defense. Maybe when you're playing nickel, I think it's all going to be trial and error, and you have to be in a team that's willing to be part of that trial and error, because there's no way it's just going to be perfect and you're just going to be able to throw them out there for 160 snaps, and what's that going to look like during the week? I'm personally very curious about. Here at CU, he wouldn't practice for the first 2 days. He usually wouldn't even hop into practice. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday was the first time Travis would be at practice. He was just rehabbing his body the early part of the week. So what does that look like in the NFL? Are players and coaches okay with him not practicing? We know how it works. Wednesday is kind of the big day. Thursday, a little bit specialty. Friday is usually kind of just that walkthrough, right? So are they okay with him not coming back till Thursday or Friday? So I think there's so many logistics that you're only going to figure out as you go. But in terms of the skill set and the endurance, I think he has the opportunity to change the game. And what's going to be interesting about this, Brent, is this can go all the way up. I'm thinking, well, let's go 5 years since he was a first-round pick. Let's just say he does play a significant amount on both sides of the ball. What does that contract look like? Is he getting wide receiver money? Is he getting corner money? Is he getting the average of both, right? This could change the game for years and years and in so many respects. And I think that's what's really exciting about Travis Hunter is it's not just a right now. We're talking years down the road. This is going to keep in the game.
We hope it's a mega contract, because that means he played well in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It all worked out. All right, last thing. Jags do visit Denver in December. Who knows how big the game will be at the time for both teams. Mm-hmm. Will it be a big deal for you guys, for the folks in Denver, for the folks in Boulder? Travis Hunter going back to Denver, will that be a huge story for you guys.
Oh, it absolutely will be. I'll tell you what, when the schedule came out and I went on TV and we were picking out the big games, and that was one of them I picked out. And I said, why? And we said, because Travis Hunter's, he's coming back. He's got his jersey already retired, only the second Heisman winner ever at the University of Colorado, and a person who changed the game at Colorado. For those of us who were lucky enough to watch him in person, and you will get that wonderful opportunity week in and week out, it's just something to marvel watching this young man on the field and seeing what he can do, and his football IQ and his ability to do what he does at such a high level on both sides of the ball. But it's going to be a huge deal. There's a ton of Travis Hunter fans. Like I said, he's such a likable guy. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Travis Hunter. That's definitely going to be a big one, and hopefully a really competitive one. And I don't know how you guys feel, but we got Evan Engram now. So there you go. We got somebody from your side who's over here with us now.
I guess I should probably ask about that. Are Broncos fans excited about Evan? We love them here. I think it's actually the biggest question mark. How will the Jags do without a guy who caught a couple hundred passes for them over the last few years?
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement about Evan. I think Evan in the person as well. We've obviously just heard from him a few times, but the leadership that he can bring to a really young Broncos team, and obviously Bo Nix in his second year, there's a lot of excitement for what Evan can do on the field, but I think also what he can do in that locker room. He's a guy that seems like one of those really great guys that people want to be around. The team is quickly really taken to him. Definitely more of that pass catching tight end, less that, pass blocking tight end kind of a sense, almost a wide receiver, right? A tight end and a wide receiver body. But for Bo Nix, he seems like the perfect playmaker for Bo Nix, who really what the Broncos are trying to do is just build around Bo. And Evan seems to be a huge addition as long as he can stay healthy. So there's a lot of excitement about what he can do out here.
Looked like we've swapped good people to cover from Denver to Jacksonville. Engram and obviously Travis Hunter. Romy Bean from CBS in Denver. We'll see you out there low on the snow, okay? Not too much snow when the Jags
do our best. Thanks, Brent, so much.
It was cool. Nice to have Romy on from CBS out there in Denver. Good thoughts on Travis Hunter. They love him out there too. Now, as she said, doesn't seem like you can find anybody that doesn't like Travis Hunter, so we're excited to watch him play come this fall, and we'll see the folks in Denver in December right before Christmas time. Taking a live look right now at Garrett Scantling as he has continued to join us, the Olympian from the Tokyo Games, the U.S. Olympic Trials winner, and after a 3-year hiatus, he's back at it, training again, has a big event at Bowls this weekend to get him to the next stage, and then the road to the 28 games in Los Angeles take place. He's at Episcopal School of Jacksonville. That's where he went to school. That's where he now teaches and coaches, and now is training for this big event. Hopefully, you can get out Friday and Saturday to watch him. He's a decathlete, so it's the hardest thing out there, and he's going to, I think, help demonstrate a 400-meter run coming up in just a bit. I didn't ask you this. I'm sure everybody asked you if you can hear us now, and hopefully, Kim, we'll see if we can get out. There we go. Yep, I can hear you. I think you. What's your favorite event?
So I would say it is a tie between the pole vault, because I have been a pole vaulter since 7th grade here at Episcopal. So I started as a little shrimp going over 7 feet. Now I pole vault. My PR is 17 feet, 8 inches.
Wow.
And I would, the other one I would say is javelin. Javelin, because you have all your frustrations from the meet, everything that you did wrong, everything that you did right, you just kind of want to get it out in the throw. And I grew up playing baseball, so I have a big advantage in the javelin because I know how to throw. If you don't know how to throw, then it's very hard to just kind of catch up when you're older. And so, yeah, I would definitely say it's a 9th event. There's not a lot of technique with it at this point in my career. It's literally just launch it, see how far it goes, and I scream at the javelin because I believe that you scream at an implement, it'll go at least a meter further. So, those would be the 2 favorite.
That's what. Hey, the pole vault, by the way, is one of those deals for me that I watch people do, and I'm like, that looks like it would be so cool. Now, I'm never going to do it, but it looks like it would be really cool. What I'm trying to. I used to, when I was a kid, I swam a lot, and I also would dive, off the high boards and a little in competition when I was younger. And so I'm kind of wondering, what's the feeling pole vaulting? Once you stick it in the ground and then you're obviously elevated and wondering if you're going to clear the bar, what's the sensation like there?
Honestly, there's a couple words I would use, and honestly, I kind of use them whenever I'm going. It's rhythm. So when you're running up to the box, everything feels rhythmic, and you know that at one or at the end point of it, everything's going to stop. It stops for like half an instant, and then you start swinging up. And honestly, it goes so fast. I feel like you feel weightless for maybe 2 seconds. I'll admit this because I don't care. I'm one of those guys that kind of sit on the bench while all my friends go on the roller coasters, and like I'm not a big fan of like the drop feeling.
Me either.
Like, the fact that I can do that, yeah, there we go. I appreciate you kind of being in there with that club. So yeah, I'll watch all my friends go on the roller coasters, but I can guarantee you none of them can pole vault. So I can always hold that near and dear to my heart.
That's awesome. All right, so what you're going to do the 400? You're going to get that's a lap around the track, essentially, right?
So the first thing I'm going to do here actually is a long jump approach. So I'm going to do my last approach. It might not hit the board, but I just want to get 17 steps of just feeling like I'm powerful, feeling like I'm quick in the end, and I'll probably just do like a little pop up into the pit. And then once I finish that, I'm going to grab my distance spikes, and I'm going to do one lap around the track at my 1500 pace. So it's going to be about 70 seconds. And honestly, I can talk to you while I'm going through it, and just show you how I hit my paces and how I hit my numbers. So right now, I'm going to line up. And like I told you, the first thing I'm thinking about is just drive. So like my first 4 to 5 steps, I want them to be long and powerful. So if I go back, so
I was trying to count. I feel like there was more than 17, or I didn't count right.
It wasn't there. No, so I want to say that my 17th step would have been about right here, which means I was running great. I was running fast because usually, you know, I'm also kind of eyeing it back there. We don't have the tape measures. All these kids grab them, roll them up, and tear them in half. So really for me, it's about the feeling of it. And right then I could feel that I was kind of accelerating in the end. I didn't feel like I was going slow, but I did push out my first 6 steps. So that's perfect. Like I said, this is all about rehearsing the feeling of what I'm going to get on Friday. So long jump is the second event.
Okay.
It's the one right after the 100. And honestly, it's one of the harder events because it's so intense, and it's just you're sprinting. And of course, it's the second event, so you still have 3 more the rest of that day. But for me, the first day is a lot easier or a lot harder than the second. So the only sprinting event you have the second day is the 110 hurdles, which once again, that's rhythm. And that's that's attacking downhill over the hurdles. But then after that, you have discus, which is chill, pole vault, which is, I mean, you take so much time between events, javelin, which is also just relaxing. And then obviously the hardest event is the 1500, just because it's the last one and it's the longest. But once you're done with that, you're done. And so I would say that the first day is definitely a lot harder on your body for sure.
That's
and
interesting.
You have to wake up feeling better.
Yeah. How many different shoes do you have for the 10 events?
So I have 8 pairs of spikes that I kind of rotate through. I'll have to bring pretty much 4 a day in my bag. So when I'm traveling as a decathlete is annoying. Let me tell you that right now. Like I have to bring my implements. So my shot put, my discus, I pack those in a separate bag to check. And then I have to bring my pole vault poles. And my pole vault poles traveling with pole vault poles are like the most stressful thing that I've ever done in my life. Just because like when you get there, I've had them like not show up. They're oversized.
Oh yeah.
So like trying to get them into the oversized compartment, like they're weirdly oversized. They're 17 feet long. So, so it's definitely a difficult situation when you're traveling with poles.
I bet.
Survive.
Is there stress? Hey, one thing about is there stress in the 17 steps on that long jump, or are you so practiced that you're going to get your 17 in anyway? Because I feel like I've seen events before where somebody gets thrown off their pace, even at the Olympic Games or in heightened moments.
Right. So you have to be able to be consistent with your steps. That's the biggest thing. Today, like it's more so about, like I said, the feel of it. But
Yeah.
when I get to the meet on Friday, I'm going to basically have 3 run-throughs before I start competing, and I want to hit the board every single time. Because if you don't hit the board, that's a foul. If you foul 3 times, then you won't get any points for that event, and that's like devastating in a decathlon, obviously. Because then like you're scored out of nine events, and you're not going to beat anybody with 9 events. So having a consistent run and hitting a consistent spot on the board is super, super important the day of, for sure. Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
All right. So you're gonna go do a 400.
Yes, sir. So right now I want to hit about 71, 72 seconds. And so that means I'm going to take my watch and I want to go through the 200 at about 35, 34, because naturally you're going to slow down as the race goes on. And so if you ever feel like you're maintaining, that's not a good thing, because you're obviously slowing down. You always want to feel like you're speeding up, because the more tired you get, the worse it's going to feel. So here we go. Still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're doing good. And so you're trying to go 70 seconds. You ran this at 48 seconds in the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Right. So this would be my 1500 pace. My 400, I'm trying to run under 48 this year. My training's been wonderful. Everything's been great. So let's see where I'm at. 30, 31, 34 is that 200. So we got one more. It's harder and harder to talk.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I can talk through it. You got to police yourself as a track athlete too, by the way. So he's doing that right now, looking at the watch, obviously. Just happy he's running and I'm not. This will be the next thing for the Olympic Games for NBC. They're going to mic up people during their events.
Yeah, no. Please don't give anyone those ideas. Please.
So what'd you do?
71 seconds.
Okay, you were right there.
That's perfect. Perfect. So the hard part is, after that, you got 3 more laps. Let me tell you, after you hit like lap 3, it's like everything goes blank. And that's why it's the most difficult event.
So
especially for bigger guys.
Yeah, so you're talking about the 1500. You just did a 1500 pace. And so that 1500, that last event, which is basically all guts by that time because you're exhausted, but you shaved 10 seconds off in the Olympic Games in Tokyo on that. So there's ground to be gained in an event like that, depending on what you got left in the tank and I guess how much you're leaving it out there.
Right, exactly. And I always say that 1500 at the Olympics, so it was really hot. It was probably like 90 something degrees, but it was nighttime. During the pole vault, the track temperature was 131. And so like just being able to do that in that type of environment, I mean, it was wonderful. I always say it's the easiest 1500 I've ever run.
Huh.
Like I got done with it. I'm like, crap. Like I feel great. I felt like I could have gone a little bit faster. But once again, hindsight's 2020. But for me, like this first event is, especially Friday, Saturday, it's about just making it through healthy. Like I said, USAs are in Eugene, Oregon, the 31st and then the 1st of August. So it's a month later. So I have to be smart. I might not be pushing like all out at this event because once again, I want to make it through healthy, and then USAs is really when I want to be at the top of my game. Obviously, I'm excited. I'm going to compete in front of all my family and friends. So it's like, I'll be wired up and I'll be doing some good performances. But like I said, the most important thing is making it through healthy and just being able to have that confidence in myself again that this is where I'm supposed to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Hey, by the way, I can tell you're a good coach. You're good at this. You've done a nice job with this, so appreciate you taking us along for the ride. And it's really fun just to kind of dive into this whole realm that you live in, and especially as you get going. So I have three more things, and we can go quick on them. But this week, and then again, you just said in August. So what's the steps to know that you can make it to 28 outside of course, the U.S. Olympic trials? So really it's about getting to the Olympic trials, whatever that qualification looks like, and being a part of that, right? So you have a chance to make it to L.A.
Right. So this year, which fitting enough, World Championships are back in Tokyo. So where I went with no family, no friends, that's in September. So this USA's kind of acts the same as an Olympic year. You have to be top 3 at USA's to go on to the Team USA team.
Okay.
So July 31st and 1st, once I finish that 1500, I have so much confidence in myself and my abilities that I really don't think there's 3 people that are better than me. I don't think anyone's better than me, but once again, you got to get to that point of proving it even to yourself. So if I come top 3, I'll go over to Tokyo September 10th through it's the 13th through the 17th. And so that will be for a world championship. The next year, world champs are indoors. So indoors is the heptathlon, which is 7 events, and everything's shorter. It's a 200-meter track, but that's in Poland. And then the next year, world champs are outdoors. So it's kind of the same process of making the team through USA's, and that's in Beijing, China. And then 2028 Olympic trials will probably be in June. And then top 3 go to the team, and then that's on home soil. So like I said, you're going to get a lot of practice and a lot of similar situations to where you would have at Olympic trials between now and then. And so just being able to do that and have that experience is going to be wonderful. And like I said, I've already made a team before, so I know what it feels like. I know what it takes. And so, like I said, if I'm healthy, the sky is the limit. And I think the biggest goal that I have is only 4 men have scored over 9,000 points. My PR is 8,867. And so I want to be that 5th guy. The American record is held by Ashton Eaton, who is one of my idols. He's a 2-time Olympic champion who went to Oregon. And his score is 9,045. So that's the American record. And so if I'm healthy, that is my goal. And that's what I want to go towards.
That's awesome. I think the 9,100 was just done recently, but I guess it was different conditions than Eaton had done his. I think I read that last night.
Yeah, it would be Kevin Mayer. He's a Frenchman, and he went 91.26, but he did it in a meet in France. Ashton Eaton did his at World Championships, which makes it even that much more impressive. To have a long day like that and so much pressure and be able to win gold, set a record, that's why Damian Warner, the Canadian, when he won Tokyo, he set the Olympic record, 9,015. And be able to do that at an Olympics is unheard of. So it's all about when you show up. And like I said, not taking anything away from Kevin, but I am beyond confident that Ashton Eaton is one of the most impressive athletes I've ever seen ever. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you're right up there, man. You got a chance, so go get it. Okay, my 2 other questions. What do you have the biggest gain to make? What event? What event, if in 4 years, that you can jump up the most in to separate yourself from what you did in Tokyo, do you believe?
So honestly, I would say the 2 events would be the high jump and the pole vault. So I'm a 6'11 3/4 high jumper. And at the Olympics, I only jumped 6'6". So I had a foot issue. I had a bone spur in my ankle that I've since had fixed. Everything feels great. Pole vault, I jumped about 16.8. So the jumps have the most point potential. So that's about 200 points I left on the table right there. And even in my PR decathlon, in the high jump, I left about 100 points on the table. In the pole vault, I left about 30 points on the table. So it just kind of adds up all over the place. So obviously, I can always improve in the distance event, but that's going to come with time and just transforming my body back into the sport.
All right. The last one is, if you solely focused on one of the 10 events that are in the decathlon, which one could you be world class at and maybe make the Olympics? Because obviously there's a difference there, right? There are some elite athletes that are just doing those events. Could you compete with one of the events at the very least, and which one would it be?
So I would honestly say it'd be the hurdles. My PR in the hurdles, and obviously the American team is the hardest team to make in the 110 hurdles. So it would still be incredibly difficult because you have to be on when it's time. I mean, you got Grant Holloway, the Florida guy. You got Trey Cunningham, the Florida State guy. Like, you have a lot of talented people in the 110 hurdles. But my PR is 1350, and the Olympic trials, like top 8, will probably 13.4, 13.3. But just because I only hurdle once a week, like if I've just honed in on hurdling and focused on that, I believe I could run 13.3, 13.2. And have a chance at the time to make a team like that. Obviously, I wish javelin, but once again, those guys are just a little bit bigger than me, and I feel like I'd have to put on some weight. And I mean, who knows what could happen in that? But that would probably be the second event that I'd have a shot at.
That's awesome, man. Well, awesome stuff. This was fun. Thanks for doing this today. And I know we got a bunch of athletes, Olympic athletes that train right over at UNF too. So you're not alone in Jacksonville trying to get your eyes on 2028. But really cool what you took us through today at Episcopal. Good luck this weekend. I know it's going to be great for the family. Make sure you tell the family hello, and we'll be rooting for you and watching you.
All right. Thank you very much, Brent. You have a good day, man.
All right, that is Garrett Scantling, 2020 fourth place at the Olympics in Tokyo, and trying to do it again at the age of 32, make a run at the Olympic Games as one of the best decathletes in the entire world. He kind of already is there. Now he has to go prove it in the big meets coming up over the next couple of months and couple of years heading into 2028. I'll tell you what, he's fantastic at doing that, though, taking us through it, workout, and you have to be an unbelievable athlete to be able to do all those things. And I guess that's the humility that he has. He says the guy that he looks up to, I think he said Eaton, is the just unbelievable athlete. He thinks he's the greatest. And, well, obviously, Garrett isn't too far behind because he's right there in the mix. So hopefully he goes and delivers the way he wants to, stays healthy, and good luck to him this week. Friday, Saturday, by the way, at Bowles again. It starts, I think he said, at 12 o'clock on Friday, and you can go check out that big event. That's what he's going to participate in and try to kick off this run toward the Olympic Games in 2028. Thanks to Olivia Tassley, too, for being out there this morning and making that work. It's been kind of fun to check in. And the one thing, by the way, and appreciate the patience on it, or at least let it slide, the way to make it look better for us is to have a different camera where the audio's coming from, so we know the lip sync is a little bit off, but whatever. Right? Nobody else is doing this, Kim, so whatever.
My math was bad today.
Oh, no, but that's not you, really. Did you try to fix it?
Yeah.
You tried to catch it up?
But
yeah, that's a hard thing to catch up. But we're operating off two different devices, if you will. So to sync that up is probably unlikely, and we knew that. So, but that's okay. It's worth getting them, taking us around the track on the 400. That was pretty cool. More to come and try to do some more fun stuff here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network like that, and on the Brent Austen Show. All right, let's do this. Let's hit a break, and I think when we come back, we'll have Austin. I'm not sure if he's in or not. We'll check in from South Florida, but we'll finish up a show, take you until 1 o'clock. Right here on the Brent Austen Show on a Monday. Hope you're off to a good start this week. Stay cool out there. It's going to be in the 90s all week again. No surprise, though. That's summer in Jacksonville, Florida.
Back a bit for the visitors. Here's Kirill Pakimov. Takes it away. Passes to the middle, and Marky Hrvojevic is there to put it into the back of the net and double the Armada advantage. Keeping that ball in bounds. Now a centering ball. Here's Hrvojevic again as Marky Hrvojevic adds his second. Working his defender left and right, sends it right at the keeper, and it's poked into the back of the net. It's a hat trick for Marky Hrvojevic. 5-0 over FC Florida.
My goodness, Marky Hrvojevic.
Is that a ham bone? That's a ham bone, folks. We hadn't even settled down from that.
I don't know
last
what a
goal.
ham bone is, but Marky Hlavojevic had 4 goals for the Jacksonville Armada on Saturday night. You watch it on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Stuart Weber, Louis Lorandi on the call. They'll have Fleet and Footy on Thursday as well. We've got another one coming up on Friday with the Armada. It'll be our final one of the summer, pending playoffs, and we think we're going to have a match or two in the playoffs here at home. Jacksonville Armada win big.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training, along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jacks are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajacks.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajacks.org. Don't wait, apply today.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers. And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater, plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet.
Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name.
And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
So Friday's article we didn't get to here on the show, actionsportsjacks.com. Actually, this isn't the right one. We did get to that one, but I think I sent it in your email. If I didn't, let me know, but it's okay. We'll get to it, so it's not a big deal. Kim's doing a great job today. But on the website, that article actually is about tackling on the website, actionsportsjacks.com. Daniel Griffis writes for us a few times a week, and there are plenty of Jags-related articles up there, a lot of deep dives on a lot of different metrics and topics. But the latest one Friday was about sacks, and so I was thinking initially it was like, okay, sacks, defensive. No, we're talking about offensive sacks. But that does relate to, when we see this graphic and you dive into the numbers, it does relate to even the Jags' defensive front, in my opinion, because of this top deal right there. Look what Daniel finds. Since 2020, teams score on 41.2% of drives without sacks. So we're talking about the offensive side of things, right? But if they get sacked on a possession, they only score 23% of the time. And it makes sense, right? You lose yardage, you get behind the sticks, all those things. But if you don't get sacked on a drive, I mean, it's 41% chance that you're going to score points. That's a lot of sample size, too. That's not a year. That's a big sample size. So you break it down, 2.26 points per drive, and without sacks, and then less than half of that, of course, with a sack. Now, go into Trevor Lawrence, 5th least sacked quarterback among active QBs. Not sure how many people know that stat, because there's so much talk all the time about the offensive line. It's not good enough. People hate their offensive lines. Happens all the time. But Trevor has actually been protected better than people think. And I know people are going to go here when I say that, and they're going to say, well, Brent, he actually avoids a lot of sacks. I think he does avoid sacks. I think he is good at that. And so he helps the offensive line, absolutely. Some of the quick game that they did with Doug Peterson helped. I think some of the quick game they're going to do with Liam Cohen, which helps every quarterback now in the league, I think the Jags are going to do more of it, and it's going to help lead to this number being hopefully even better. But overall, the offensive line from a pass pro standpoint hasn't been bad the last few years. The run game stuff is really where they haven't done well. So if you even look more, I think what's interesting here when you look at some of these regression numbers about avoiding sacks and even this outside the pocket stuff is 2024 is, I don't know about a lost year, but it certainly feels a lot like 2021 when it comes to the numbers. In 2021 on Trevor Lawrence, we put a lot of the numbers that looked bad on 2 things. One, it was his rookie year, and also it was the Urban Meyer year. And I do not want to do this to Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson and the toxicity of Urban, like those are not comparable things. But what I do believe about 2024 is he also had 2 reasons that you're going to say, yeah, but. One, injuries. He didn't play the entire season. So the numbers aren't going to be great anyway, at least in volume. And the other part is there was definitely something amiss with this offense last year with Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, and the offense in general, and really the football team in general. So I don't want to say excuses. I just think there's context to the story, specifically in 21 and in 24 when you're looking at a lot of different numbers and a lot of different players, but in this case, Trevor Lawrence. So I don't get too wrapped up in the regression stat or the outside the pocket thing, especially in 24. I think the sample size wasn't big. I think for whatever reason, the on the same page, the chemistry, the whatever the Jags were trying to do on offense didn't click. And I think that, is a little bit of the fault of the coaching staff and the scheme and everything else, much like in 21, where there was a lot of fault on Urban Meyer for different reasons of why they didn't have some success, why Trevor Lawrence didn't have some success. So anyway, the importance of avoiding sacks, I think we all know it. This is just in numeric form, and it goes even deeper on actionsportsjacks.com, so read all about it with Daniel Griffis, and you can do that each and just about every day. Daniel Griffis gives us a little bit different topic, and probably give him a little bit of time off in July and then back at it in the football season. But we like Daniel writing some of this and giving us some topics on the show to even deep dive into, but also you can read about them, again, at actionsportsjacks.com. Brent Martineau along with Kim's Corner here, Austin Lane. I'm not sure if we're going to get him again. I hope we get him. There we go. We do have him. Look at that. How about you? Hey, I wanted to get to this before I forget about it. You look like you got a good workout in. John Jones retires. Is that a surprise to the sport? Is that it's obviously a big story, right? Because he loses the belt.
Yeah. He has to vacate the belt, so that immediately goes to the interim champion, who was Tom Aspinall. I'm not really surprised at all, Brent. The rumors, the speculation was it was going to be John Jones, Tom Aspinall, sometime in the near future. I guess they had a contract done. Jones was demanding a lot of money. Dana White was able to get him said money, and then Jones went back on the deal and said no. They gave him as much time as possible, but basically the heavyweight division was being held up in terms of the championship, waiting on John Jones. And even though he is arguably the GOAT of MMA, there's only so long you can wait. So I feel like he kind of got pushed to fire a little bit. Jones said he's done, and now Tom Aspinall is the guy until proven otherwise. In a way, it does make sense, right? Like John Jones, set aside from a stipulation, he retires undefeated. Tom Aspinall is a young up-and-comer, right? Very talented, very fast, very skillful everywhere. And it would have been a very tough challenge for John Jones. And I think the problem with John Jones and why he didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall, everyone's saying, oh, he's afraid of Tom Aspinall, he's afraid of when you're the baddest man on the planet, I don't really think you're afraid of anybody. I think the problem was that John Jones felt like Tom Aspinall wasn't that big of a name, right? Like, to kind of go back to like the Conor McGregors and Jose Aldos and things like that, where the card is only as good as the names that you put on it. And yeah, I think Tom Aspinall is fantastic because I follow MMA, religiously, obviously. Would the casual fan tune in to watch Tom Aspinall and John Jones? I'm not sure. So I think that was really the holdup, Brent. Like, if we're talking John Jones and Francis Ngannou, yeah, I think John Jones would have fought one more time. If we're talking John Jones and another big name, yes, I think John Jones would have fought one more time. But I think the combination of talent and maybe the combination a little bit of unknowingness of Tom Aspinall was the reason why John Jones chose to walk away.
You said John Jones, arguably the GOAT. Do you think he's the GOAT?
Oh, man. So it's wild because if you want to talk about the MMA GOAT, it depends what we're talking about. Are we talking about the best resume? Well, then, yeah, John Jones has beat the biggest names. Are we talking about the total package in terms of promotion? Are we talking about money, generated? Well, I don't know, man. There was a time where Conor McGregor was much CTV. So it all depends what kind of categories you're bringing to the table, Brent. But if you're just talking about a pure skill in terms of the talent that John Jones beat at such a young age, then yeah, I think there's no arguing it. Now, don't get me wrong. There could be an asterisk next to it, right? Because he did have some run-ins with the law. There was some, doping allegations in terms of steroid use and everything like that. So it doesn't come with a clean resume. But if we're looking at the guys that he beat, Brent, yeah, I feel like nobody comes close.
His overall record, 28-1, by the way. And so that obviously adds to it.
And that one, there's a giant asterisk next to it just because he was dominating the fight and it was a 12-6 elbow. It was debatable. From my understanding, I think they're trying to get that one overturned so he can kind of retire undefeated. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an asterisk. As far as any MMA fans concerned, he's undefeated.
You think about a I just looked this up. You think about like a GOAT conversation, right? Or even, just mention his names. Obviously, one of the biggest names. How much money do you think? I just looked up, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I looked up like his net worth, which is always a little questionable because it's hard because it's not like he's getting a salary. But how much money do you think? Like, what kind of range do you think John Jones is in dollars wise?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, don't listen to Google, man. If you look up my net worth right now, Brent, I should be having 10 backyard fireplaces right now, and I assure you.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm not sure what listed at now, but I'm sure it's higher than it's a little inflated. My bad, man. What was the question though? How much money do you think he's made?
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think he? Well, because what's interesting is like you just said about Conor McGregor, right? McGregor's made a boatload of money in the sport, where not a lot of guys make a boatload of money. I think it's important to note that. But I think what it shows is McGregor's way more of a. What this number is going to show is McGregor's way more. I guess marketable than John Jones has been. Probably because some of those run-ins like you're talking about.
Well, yeah, Brent. I mean, there was a time where in terms of revenue of how much John Jones was garnering, I mean, we're talking like endorsements by Gatorade. We're talking endorsements by Nike. Like he was the face of MMA. So, I mean, it's hard to really put a number on it, but we're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars, right?
Yeah,
and then once those run-ins started happening, then yeah, obviously Nike dropped him, Gatorade dropped him, and then when the UFC got bought out by first it was Reebok, and now it's Venom. Well, then that kind of changed the whole game too in terms of how you go about endorsements. But the dude's definitely made a lot of money. But I think one of the stories will be when it's all said and done is he left a huge amount of money on the table due to all like the litigations and the run-ins with the law.
That's probably the best way to say it. I think that's crystal clear. He left money on the table. I think what I found is anywhere between $3 and $5 million is what he's kind of made or got or whatever, however you want to characterize that. He is only 37 years old, though. Do you think this is it, or is this set the table for a potential comeback?
I mean, when he put out his statements, the way that he announced it, it seemed like if something was out there enticing for him, he would come back. And that's kind of the life of the prize fighter, right, Brent? I mean, yes, it's about legacy. It is about just your reputation, but also it's about the prize. It's about getting money, right? Like whoever gets the most money wins. So if there's a big name out there, if there's a Francis Ngannou out there, if there's some kind of celebrity boxing out there, then I can definitely see him doing that, because if we're talking a $10 million payday or more, then why not?
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him, and if he does come back, it does feel like he's young enough to keep coming back. I don't think he's going to get out of shape. I saw something. He said, "I don't walk out of my house. I hardly walk out of my house unless I'm getting paid $100,000."
Sure. Well, yeah, and it's crazy too, man, because he didn't disclose this, but he was on like some reality TV show. I don't know if it was like in Russia or if it was in Turkey. He was in Europe, basically, or like, I don't know. He's in Russia or Europe or something like that, doing this reality show, where basically like he's coaching fighters in a house. It's kind of like the Ultimate Fighter here in the U.S., but it was like the overseas version. And he didn't disclose how much money he made, but by the sound of it, like he made more money doing that than what he probably would have made, trying to fight Tom Aspinall. So
wow,
take that for how you want.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, there's a market out there for him as well. Do you think at some point he gets like in the broadcast booth to do this, to stay involved in the sport, or does he turn actor? Is there some other life for him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has the name, so I think he's open. I mean, dude can do whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned. When you're the GOAT, you need the Tom Brady treatment, right? So if you want to do commentary, I'm sure they're going to speed line you and you'll be doing pay-per-views in no time. If you want to do analysis work on ESPN, I'm sure they'll streamline it. But I think it all depends on like how he feels about it too, because I mean, and I understand like you have a guy like Daniel Cormier, who's like a very likable, outgoing person. I'm not sure if John Jones fits in that mold, so I'm very curious to see like if he even feels like doing the commentary stuff.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch and kind of fun to see where his next road is in his career. Hey, back to a couple of just quick hitters on really Jags and NFL, but I posed this question, which seems a little egregious, and I'll admit that. but I talked my way through it, and I didn't talk myself into it. I just talked my way into saying I don't think it's as egregious as it might first sound. Okay. I presented, could the Jags defensive line, because that's our position group this today on the show, could they be the best in the NFL by the end of the season?
Oof. I mean, I think that's a lot of pie in the sky, Brent. Now, like when we talk about the edges, yes, like you arguably have two of the best bookends in the entire NFL, but that doesn't get the job done. You also need that interior presence. And yes, we can sit here and say Eric Armstead can give you that. We can sit here and say that there's some young guys coming up now going on their second years that can give you that as well. Mason Smith being obviously one of those guys. But I almost have to see it to believe it, Brent. And I haven't seen enough from the interior defensive line to say they're going to have the best defensive line in the NFL. So unfortunately, I can't co-sign on that until I see more from the interior.
Yeah, and I think when I say best, I think I don't even know what that means, but I guess elite's the way to put it, right?
Top. Yeah.
Well,
right.
But I don't know how you measure. Like right now, I think you'd say in the league, probably Philadelphia is the best. I think they proved that with sacks. They got Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter.
Denver's up there as well, I think. They have a great defensive.
I'll tell you a sneaky one that's pretty dang good are the Giants. Yeah. But they haven't won necessarily, right? But anyway, I think can you get in that conversation is really the point. And you just said it. I mean, you've got two bona fide that is not pie in the sky to say you have two pass rushers that could get double digits and approach 13, 14, 15 sacks potentially. Like, I don't think that's crazy talk. I think there's potential. Armstead's a guy that has a resume that he's done it before. Like, he's been able to deliver on that interior position. Quite frankly, Devon Hamilton put together a little bit of a resume. Can he get back to that? And so then you're front four. And then I do think what you mentioned in the depth has potential to be pretty productive. What we don't know are those two young guys in Jefferson and Mason Smith and where they go. But now when you add Smoot and you have Agba, you have these guys that actually have done it. Gardeck, throw him in there too. Like, your depth is pretty good. So I think the numbers will have to prove it. I also just, part of my argument here was the Jags didn't have a lot of chances last year with that line. One, their interior wasn't great. We obviously know the coaching wasn't that great either because they finished dead last in about every category. And they never had the lead in games. And if you're going to be a top flight a defensive front, you are going to have the lead so you can go eat a little bit, right? And go make plays and game-changing plays or seal the deal. So, again, what's the reality? Probably not being the best in the league. But can you go from one that nobody's talking about to be maybe one of the top 8 in the NFL? Boy, that would go a long way.
I mean, at this point, Brent, I would take top 10 all day. You know, I would take top 10, and then you couple that with that Liam Cohen offense. I think you might have something there. So, and I think it's realistic too, right? Like, I really do. I think, like, I have that much faith in Campanelli to turn this whole thing around. And once again, is it a little bit of blind faith? First time being a defensive coordinator, right? So we're asking a lot of the guy, but I think the mutual feeling here with everybody is like, well, it couldn't be much worse with Ryan Nielsen, right? So the bar is so low that you think, well, obviously it has to get better.
Do you want to talk about the killer bees, or do you want to wait till tomorrow when you're in a better headspace?
I may need a good 30, 45 minutes to get into killer bees.
Yeah, I figured as such.
Yeah, and obviously you probably talked about this ad nauseum too as well, but shout out to college baseball for actually, staying relevant even through the NBA Finals weekend. But what would you make of the ejection? I thought it was stupid. I thought it was unnecessary, especially, in an elimination game in the College World Series. And then the ump, tripping and falling was the proverbial cherry on top. Brent, from now on, like, I'm gonna make a rule. If you're an umpire, and this is a ref, umpire, whatever, official, any sport, and you're that unathletic where you trip over your own feet and you do a barrel roll, guess what, man? You got to go to the bullpen.
You're out.
Got to get you out. It's over. You know what I'm saying?
You're out.
What did you make of everything? I'm sure you already talked about it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I didn't go too deep onto it, but I'm glad. Like, there are a couple things basically in everything. We want the refs to stay out of the way of the big games, right? Officials stay out of the way of the big games, and so that part of it was ridiculous. I didn't think he even said a lot overall. I have no idea what the first base coach said. And to be honest with you, that's one thing. If you want to eject him because he said something, but the coach getting ejected, there has to be a little bit more leniency there in a big game early in the game. I also don't think it impacted the game, Austin. I don't think that's why they lost. I think LSU was just better at the end of the day, these last couple of games in particular. They really pitched it well the last couple of days, and Coastal couldn't match them. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to be talking about your ultimate event, your championship event, and you're coming off talking about the officials. And this guy's got a little bit of a reputation. The other part of that I don't think people understand is when he tripped, he actually he put the number 2 up, because he said that's a 2-game suspension on top of what getting ejected. And because he said he got bumped, and he didn't get bumped in live action. You knew he had tripped. The way he fell, like a foot got stepped on, or he tripped over it, or whatever. I didn't know that's what the 2 meant initially until I read it after. And since then, the NCAA has actually come out and changed it. It said that he was verbally abusing more, and so that's what elevated to the 2. But initially, they gave him the 2 more because they thought he pushed the umpire. So, yeah, I mean, we got to get out of our own way sometimes. I thought, actually, Austin, you watch a lot of the College World Series. Remember, we talked about some of those hit-by pitches? I thought the umps got too involved with some of that stuff. Like
getting into it?
Yeah, I thought there was too much on their plate, on the replay or the umpires. They shouldn't be determining all that. And like I said last week when we discussed it, even on that particular thing where it's like a strike, if you lean into it, that the leniency should be on the batter. Well, the leniency here should be with the coach. Let him go nuts a little bit. Let it get so over the top that we say, hey, coach, you can't do that, or you got to run you. We should not all be saying the umpire made a mistake here on a Monday.
No, without a doubt. And to me, you know, am I the biggest college baseball fan? Well, I was for like 3 weeks when Murray State was in it, right? And that's about it. But I'll say this much. I think it makes college baseball look bad, though, Brent, because it's really one of the only sports that you watch it. Like, you know, the finals here, like, so you watched LSU, and it's like they have so many talented guys that'll be playing Major League Baseball one day, right? And like, you know, like if you watch a college football championship, you watch the Gators, you know, and their championship. Like, yeah, there might be 1 or 2 guys that you may see in the NBA, but it's not like the entire team's going to go. Well, there was a lot of talent on that field. And instead of talking about the arms that LSU had, and instead of talking about the hitting, we're not talking about any of that. Like, we're not talking about the talent that was purveyed in the championship. All we're talking about is the refs or the umpires' influence on that game. And that's a shame, because it shouldn't be like that, but that's the world of social media, and that's where we're at. So to me, it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth for the sport of college baseball, because a lot of those great athletes, man, aren't getting their shine right now like they should be.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good take on it. All right, listen, tomorrow we will talk Killer Bees, and I'm not talking about the wrestling tag team duo. Also, I do have a question. Oklahoma City, think about this. Oklahoma City tomorrow, are they like, how many championship winners have we had over time in various sports that you're like, I like it. I don't think the public has a problem with it. I don't even know if Oklahoma City has a rival in the NBA. I'm not even sure. So I think it's like kind of a feel good. Everybody's okay with it, especially if you're a casual fan. But I'm not sure I'm right on that. So think about that one for tomorrow, and we'll take a look at the linebacker position group tomorrow for the Jags as well. Have a good Monday, man. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys tomorrow.
All right, that is Austin Lane down in South Florida. He's got a big fight coming up in July as well. So getting closer and closer to that. Thanks to Kim. Thanks to Garrett Scantling, Olivia Tasley for helping set that up. That was fun today on the show. If you missed any of it, you can always go back and listen to the podcast. You can always go back and watch, of course, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And we replay the show at 10 o'clock each and every night on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network as well. Have a good rest of your Monday. We'll see you on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Welcome inside the Armor Guard Exterior and Gutter Helmet Showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors,
replacement windows. And down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters. And to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground. The water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
It's been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
The Fleet continues its summer swing with the Jacksonville Armada men's and women's teams finding success on the pitch so far in 2025. The girls in blue find themselves in the thick of a three-way battle for the Sunshine Conference crown with an undefeated mark at home. They wrap up the schedule with a pair of Friday night showdowns. As for the boys in blue, they remain unbeaten this summer and top the table in their conference, with crucial road games still to come down the stretch against Naples and New Orleans, after a final home game versus FC Florida. All those matches are at Edward Waters University, and you can watch them live on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Will Olive, Mandarin High School. Go Stangs.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002. Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Sun's out, suits out. That's right, it's summertime in Florida, which means it's time to say goodbye to bulking season and hello to shredding season. But if you're like me, you're having a hard time sculpting and shaping those final pounds. That is until I came and saw my friends over at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Right now, everyone is hopping on the Evolve X train, and the only destination is finding your perfect summer body. The technology uses electrical muscle stimulation and radio frequency energy to cause your muscles to contract, all while heating up those deep layers of your skin and tissue to produce collagen and reduce fat. It's like doing 1,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes. No pain, no needles, just results, right? That's right. So leave those winter layers back at the station and come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra